not the time for them to be taught. So we understand, we appreciate that. But everybody that got to get you out here, now is the time to get up here and say how you feel. The pain you've been going through, the information that's been revealed from you, for cases that you don't have. Now is the time to get up here. So they just don't open these cases that you don't got information for. What is his name? Leon. Who else is it? Matthew. All these people that's been killed. You ain't got answers. Still with all the information. Her son's dead. Why don't she got all the information? That's what she gonna live with. That boy can't swim. How the hell is he in the goddamn ocean? It's been a long and it always goddamn clothes on. They get me. And we out here doing all this shit. Like, get your ass on this podium and tell me what the fuck is wrong.
All right, so we are back from super long break this time. Crazy break.
Crazy break.
Crazy break. Well, so this whole weekend from Friday to Sunday, we had Juneteenth.
Yep.
Which we kind of covered that a little bit.
Yep.
Earlier in the show. Yesterday, which was Sunday, we had Father's Day, which was a pretty chill day.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty
Good.
chill day, you know. Like every year, you know, you pretty make it pretty chill day. You let me pretty much hang out and do whatever I feel like doing, and usually I just feel like chilling.
Yeah.
As it should be, I suppose. I mean,
You set the pace. It's your day.
Yeah, I don't really have you know. Yeah, I don't need explosions and fireworks on Father's Day. I just give me my games, give me some movies, give me some booze, you know, and let's rock and roll. But as far as that goes, you know, did you hear anything about like how's everything with your father? Is he doing well? And
Yep. I did hear that he was doing really good.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but he's doing well, and you know, as well as things can be. You know, it's he's old now, and it's just him and my mom, so it's but he's doing health wise. He's doing well, and sounds good and looks good.
Do you have like a funny but embarrassing story about your dad? Something that
many.
Really?
Well, you have to say, okay. So if you know my dad, if you don't know my dad, and I'll find a good picture of him to show everybody who watches. My dad is 5'1", and he's a Spaniard, and he's round. He's a cute little guy.
But he's 5'1" now. Has he always been 5'1"?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, my dad was never a tall person. Maybe at his prime, maybe he was 5'4", but
at what age did you become taller than your dad?
Oh, maybe 13, 14. And my mom's the same height as him.
Yeah.
So, and he's hairy. He's a Spaniard. He's European. Most European men are hairy, but he is hairy to the extreme. I'm talking gorilla hairy, but instead of long hair, it's all curly. And it's from his face to his head to his shoulders, all the way down to his feet. I mean, there's hair everywhere. And my dad was never afraid of trying anything. He was always comfortable doing things. And no matter where you went, my dad had to have fun doing it.
Okay.
There isn't a time where I was bored having my dad around.
But fun like what? Like, was your dad a thrill seeker? Was he just a clown, or
he was? Yes, he. I don't want to call it a clown.
or
He
like
was
goofy, or
He was goofy. He was light. You know, he kept things light. He used to love going to the beach. Okay.
But was he like a ball buster, or is your dad the type that he don't mind having the joke on him, or
No, not at all. My
Okay.
dad doesn't mind having the joke on him. He'll tell jokes on himself. He's not a ball buster, but he does love to tell jokes. He likes to tell stories. He likes to sing.
Okay.
Okay.
So he's humble. He doesn't mind providing entertainment. He
No.
doesn't have to come at the expense of something
No,
else. Okay.
but he usually is the center of attention at a party.
Yeah.
Every family party that we've been to, you know, any event party that we've been to, my dad has always been the center of attention. He does things like, especially if it's like a Spanish party. Like I remember being young, and whenever there was like a family party at a house or something like that, they drank their wine out of wine boots, leather wine boots.
Yeah, we have one.
Yeah. And, they squirt out. So, and he was like a master out of drinking from it without spilling any drops. Usually with a wine boot, at some point while you're bringing it down, you're going to have a drop or two that spills.
Yeah.
My dad was a master at it. I mean, and he used to do this at parties. He would sing, and he has a very loud voice. That's where I get it from. And he would, his jokes, he would laugh at them before he even told them, and he would just have people laughing the whole time.
All right.
Everywhere we went, I remember going to church was so boring because Catholic church is very long, and he even made that fun for us.
Well, all right. So let's get to before we get to the I guess the funny but embarrassing situation. Did your dad have any sayings that he liked to say, like maybe a saying of words of wisdom or something like that?
There is one thing now. He's said many things, and when I talk to my sisters, they tell me about the things he said to them. And there's always that one thing that he has said to each one of us. It's different, but that always stuck. Mm-hmm. And to me, when I was pregnant with Rosie, when I got pregnant with Rosie, and Rosie's my second. And, I told my dad, and my dad said to me, he smiled and he said to me, Jackie, little babies, little problems. Big babies, big problems. Don't have too many big problems. And it stuck with me, and I will never forget that. And I said, you know what, Dad, you're right.
He said it in English?
Yeah, in English, which was even better because my dad's English, you can barely understand him. His English is so broken.
Oh, okay.
And he would my dad he doesn't have a lot of education as far as going to school because, he grew up so poor, he had to go to work early, when he was young. But he knows a lot of things. He's not a dumb person. Yeah. And he learns pretty quickly the things that he wants, and even though he may speak broken English, he does understand everything you say.
Absolutely.
He's not a dumbass. He knows what you're saying. He may not be able to say it, but he knows it. And there's like times where we'd be sitting on the porch and in the summer just hanging out, just sitting there chilling, talking, and a neighbor will walk by, one of our American neighbors, and he'll say, "Hey, Jesus, how you doing?" And he'll say, "Hey, Steve, I'm doing good." And Steve will say, "You doing all right?" My father says, so. And, I looked at my dad. I didn't even know that he knew what so meant. I didn't even know that he knew that was a phrase.
Okay.
Because his English is so broken
Yeah.
And he got mad when I said, "You know what that means?"
It's just so.
He was like, "Yeah."
I probably hear it on the street. People probably said it to me. I'm like, what the fuck so means?
And there was one time we went to the beach, and he loved going to the beach. But the thing was, and while we were little, I'm talking like 4 or 5, maybe even 6, we ignore it. We don't complain about it. We don't think about it. But once you get to be like 9, 10, 11, 12, especially 13, 14, you start realizing that Dad shouldn't be wearing a Speedo at the beach. And, I grew up in Spain, so it was kind of normal, to see men in Speedos. Like here, most men wear swim trunks,
Yeah.
But it wasn't odd to me until I hit that certain age and we would go to the beach and all the men are wearing swimming trunks and here's my dad, 5'2", hairy from neck down, with this belly that just hangs out there, wearing a leopard Speedo. And me and my sister would just try to go and lay on the other side of the beach. My dad would be calling over for us. We'd be ignoring him. I mean, he'd walk down the boardwalk with him. My dad was always entertaining. And my mom never thought twice of him. We thought my dad was just the cutest guy, and he had fun. We went, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with this one trying to kick him
Trying
out
to
of the
kick
way.
him off?
Yeah, I'm sitting here playing kung fu with this dog here. Speaking of which, that's what Trump calls Corona now, kung flu.
Stop. Is that truism?
Yeah, it's super true. Super
Damn.
true. And his press secretary is trying to defend it. He said it Saturday at the thing. But okay, I mean,
My dad was fun. My dad made everything fun.
so was that the embarrassing thing?
That was one of them. I mean, there's just so many.
Okay.
We've been on vacation so many times, and he always thought he knew.
Well, put it this way: did he have any? Because he had the English thing. Did he have any Spanish phrases or anything like that he liked to say or anything like that?
Not to stand out, not right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not to stand out, but he liked to, like I said, he liked to dance and sing. He loved to sing.
My grandmother loves to say, "A hard ass makes a hard head makes a soft ass."
Yeah.
She used to always love to say that one.
Yeah, I
She
mean,
say that shit like at least once a day.
there are those little things that they say that just sticks with you.
Okay.
You know,
Alright.
my dad's awesome.
Yeah. Well, happy Father's Day, belated at this point, but happy Father's Day to Mr. Martinez.
It's my pops.
Your pops.
You know, so just real quick, I just want to bring up, Trump had his speech thing or whatever. And, soon after I said, all right, let the countdown begin on this whole virus thing.
Mm-hmm.
And,
well, that was the segment I was about to go into.
Cool.
But,
Okay, good.
Go ahead.
No, I'm going to wait until you introduce it in, and then I'll throw my 2 cents in.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's why I skipped over Saturday. But, I mean, by all means.
No, please.
So anyway, Saturday.
Yeah.
There was then, I guess, Trump Day.
Trump Day.
I don't know what they're supposed to call it. The mega rally in which it was a flop, just to
Yeah.
give it at that.
And he was saying that so many people were waiting for it.
1,000 people were supposed to come. Well, not 1,000, but mad people were supposed to come, but only slightly irritated
Like
came.
a few thousand people.
It wasn't mad. It was just a little, a little bothered.
They squeezed everybody into one section so it could look good on camera.
But yeah, what were you going to say?
So I had said let the countdown begin on how many people have contracted the virus, and so far as of today, there's been 8.
Oh, okay. That from this party thing.
Yep.
From this rally.
And it's not from the crowd; it's people on the inside. 2 secret. The latest 2 were 2 Secret Service members.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, and the dude. So now the story is they're going to stop. I guess heat temperature checks in the White House. Because I guess at the actually, you know what? Let's just back up a little bit. So, I actually have a clip of the Trump bullshit that I wanted to play a little bit.
The bullshit.
Yeah. It's Trump.
Testing is a double-edged.
That's it. See, he's already right there talking that ish about testing.
He just comes out the gate like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. You can't even,
Can't make this
Testing
up.
is a double-edged sword. We've tested now 25 million people.
Testing is a double-edged sword. Damn, I didn't even get fucking 7 seconds into
Non-testing
it.
can be a death sentence.
Testing is not a double-edged sword. It's not. That doesn't make any sense. That makes 0 sense. That's Saturday was America Day.
Yeah.
Not America, it was America Day. If you drink bleach, Saturday was your day.
Mm-hmm.
If
Or
you
fish tank cleaner.
a fish tank cleaner, if you're the ones that I refer to as you motherfuckers, Saturday was your day. Saturday was your day, yo. I don't know why they all didn't show up. I heard that according to Pence, RV salespeople, RVs were flying off the shelves. If that's where RVs are stored,
Really? Okay.
if they're stored on the shelves, they were flying off according to Pence.
Yeah. Hope you made it off safely.
Yeah, and apparently none of them showed up at the party. It was supposed to be a slammer jam, bro. It was supposed to be so huge that it was going to be like a festival. You know what I mean?
That's
like
what the rumor was.
Street fair.
It was like the next Woodstock and
yeah,
shit.
and he was going to come out. Him and Pence, he and Pence were going to come out
And other worshipers were going to
and
be
talk
there.
shit. And yeah, you got people up there with like, there's this hillbilly looking dude. They all were hillbilly looking motherfuckers. But you know what? I don't want to go there and say that they all were, but America. And they were like flying, like waving these flags, and these flags got like Trump's face imprinted over the American flag, and it's like
it's creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy as hell. It's indoctrination as hell, and it's like, look, you know, that's some other country shit. That's not America.
I know.
That's not America at all. Even down to the I kind of get when they're talking about the Confederate flag, that they've been so brainwashed to kind of like throw something else to it. No, the flag represents the descendants of the Confederate soldiers that fought in all the wars.
Yeah, so
and all that other
like,
dumb
come
shit.
on, stop trying to feed us that shit.
You're making up shit.
Exactly.
But I at least get the sentiment. Doesn't mean that and there's a place to where they can believe that, and thus not be directly or consciously racist.
Right.
You know what I mean? The fact that you believe it inherently makes you racist, because you're gonna put forth what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, you can't believe in God and say you're not a thesis.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No, you're a thesis. You
Thesis.
Yeah, that's atheist.
Mm-hmm.
You're a theist. I think that's what
Theist.
Yeah, theist. Theist.
I like that. Theist.
I'm flexing.
Put them away. Come on.
Yeah, the
Now.
gun show. America.
We might be flagged for that.
It's America. You gotta have
America.
You gotta have guns in America.
America.
So yeah, I mean, so it's like
Somebody don't name their kid that.
that's not no fucking. I'm sure somebody's kid is called America. So that's what I'm saying. You can't like be. That's not American shit. That's something else. We don't worship people here. You know what I'm saying? We just don't. And we certainly don't worship them over else. You know what I'm saying? In America, you're not supposed to give up your convictions to all this bullshit. And it's like, you know, yeah, in America, if anything, we're the place where you kind of, and I might have touched on this earlier, where you kind of supposed to be a little distrusting of your government. And if anything of the South, that's kind of what I thought the South was all about. But
Yeah, me too. I was totally wrong.
Yeah, you're supposed to be a little trusting of your government. But with this guy, it's like, nah, bring it on. Bring it on. Whatever you have to say, bring it on, because you're the guy that's going to do all the ill shit that we need.
Right.
So yeah. So anyway, but back to what he was saying. Testing is a double-edged sword. That's a lie. It's not even a lie. It just doesn't make any sense. He could have easily been like speaking like the lady from Charlie Brown, the teacher. You know, just went. Yeah. He could have. I don't even know why he was even saying words. Those words don't even combine to anything that is touched in reality.
People. It's probably 20 million people, more than anybody else. Germany's done a lot.
But let me go into what he's trying to plant. What he's trying to say is that, yeah, we have all these cases, But we wouldn't have all these cases if we didn't test. We test. Reason why we have more cases than Germany is because we test more than Germany. If Germany tested more than we did, then Germany would have more cases than we
Absolutely.
do. There's nothing. But no, there is no absolute. Do you agree with that?
If Germany had more testing,
yeah.
then they would find more cases. Well, why wouldn't that be true?
But then they would have more. What he's saying is, Germany would have more cases than us.
That doesn't make sense.
Let me just go back. What he's saying is that the reason why we have all people are saying, hey, we have all these testings, we have all these cases, we need to back off, we need to shut things down. He's saying the only reason why we have these cases is because we test. If we didn't test, we wouldn't have these cases.
Oh, okay.
We test more than Germany. That's why we have more cases than Germany.
No.
There's nothing that backs that up.
Right.
For Germany could test 1 million more of their citizens. That doesn't mean they're going to have 1 million more cases. Mm-hmm. They might test 1 million more and only have 2 more cases. We might test 1 million more and have fucking 100,000 cases. Mm-hmm. You know, it doesn't. What he's saying is that, which is so funny because
slow down the testing.
Yeah, exactly. Which is funny because in the end they had everybody sign the waiver for the America Party.
Yeah.
And and it's like, okay, we don't believe in science here, but we're gonna believe in science when it comes to liability. And you know, he's basically saying like, look, it only exists when you test for it. It's like
it's like an out of sight, out of mind, or like if you don't see it, then it must not be there.
It's like behind you. Mm-hmm. If I tell you right now, there's a ghost. No, there's not a ghost. There's a Tyrannosaurus Rex behind you, but you can't look. Don't look behind you. Don't look behind you. But there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex behind you. You know what I'm saying? You don't know it's not there. Technically, you can't prove without a shadow of a doubt that it isn't there if you're speaking amongst a bunch of crazy people. Same people are going to know. Same people are going to know. There's no Tyrannosaurus Rex. Tyrannosaurus Rex can't even fit in his fucking room.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Much less in that corner. And but his crowd will say, he's kind of right. You can't have an egg without it. You can't have a chicken without an egg, and you can't have an egg without a chicken. If it's, why do they keep calling it a building if it's already built? What are they trying to do? Maybe they're giving people the corona when they test them. You know, so it's one of those things that is like.
So if we don't test anymore, like, will it just corona just would not exist anymore? I'm
assuming what would happen is that if we don't test anymore, no, you're gonna have to test because people are gonna end up in the hospital, and people are gonna need to know what the fuck. Like in the beginning, there was no testing going on. People went to the hospital. We have to find out what the fuck is going on.
Oh my gosh.
We test now so that we can mitigate how many people have to go to the hospital.
So there's no getting ahead of the problem.
According to Trump, there is no problem. The problem is in the testing. And if we would just chill with the testing, then there's no news to report.
That's insane.
If I beat you and don't leave scars, there's no news to report.
Mm-hmm.
If I shoot the suspect and kill him, there's no news to report. You can't report that he didn't have a gun. You can't report that I roughed him up and talked to him like shit. You can't report any of that because he's dead. Which is funny because I saw a meme today, which rang true as hell. The meme basically says, whenever a cop kills a suspect,
right,
he's automatically innocent because he can't go to trial. So whatever it is that you killed him for, he's not guilty of it.
No matter what it is.
No matter what it is, you just killed an innocent man because you're innocent until proven guilty in this country.
Yep.
And so if a cop says, well, he had a gun and he pulled it out, well, what's that charge? What's that charge? Is that charge assault on a cop? Is that charge, what is it? Well, we don't know because you killed the motherfucker before you was able to charge him with anything.
So he can never be proven guilty.
So he's innocent regardless.
Yeah.
Now, had you not killed half these unarmed motherfuckers and still charged them with, I don't know, assault with a deadly weapon on a cop, we would have went to court and it would have been proven that, they didn't have a gun.
Yeah.
So therefore, they didn't assault the cop with a deadly weapon. So either way, they would have gotten off. But the cop's way, we got a dead guy. A dead innocent dude.
Yep. We just got an innocent body.
So when people talk about lynching and how that doesn't happen anymore, no, it does. It does happen. Every time a cop kills a suspect, they just took that guy's due process away.
Right.
They just fucking robbed him of his civil rights.
Yep.
Now, in terms of, in fact, yeah, because the Constitution doesn't say shit about a cop's safety. The Constitution doesn't say shit about does a cop deserve to go home at night, all that. No, that's shit that society is adding into the mix.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The Constitution just says everybody is guaranteed due process. So if I'm being charged with a crime or accused of a crime, I am guaranteed due process. And a speedy trial. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
Technically, I shouldn't be waiting fucking 3 years for a fucking trial. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but in this case, in Floyd's case, Brooks' case, Taylor's case, Carter case, Rice case, Brown's case, none of them got a trial.
Didn't even get a chance.
Epstein got a trial. Dude that ran up in the what's the face in church got a trial. So yeah. So anyway, back to you, Trump. What the fuck you got to say?
South Korea's done a lot. They call me, they say, the job you're doing, here's the bad part. When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people, you're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please. I stand before...
Everybody's like, yeah.
Yeah, slow the testing down. No more cases.
They're all like yelling over each other, just saliva going everywhere.
Right now, everybody in South Korea like, I didn't say shit to that motherfucker. Everybody like, you said that? No, hell no. Why would I say some stupid shit like that? Everybody, the whole nation of South Korea like, I don't know. You think they got a sound for? I don't know.
No, because I think that sounds like a word.
Like, how in Spanish, how in English, somebody could say something and you'd be like, Do they have something like that in Spanish? Is that ay, ay, ay?
I guess that would be something because that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, because es mío is a phrase.
Yeah, those are words. Yeah, but ay, ay, ay is not a word. There's no translation of that.
But is that a stereotype? Like, yo, 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 what's up? Or do people actually say ay, ay, ay?
No, they actually do say. They actually do say it. Like, I guess there are no sounds.
By the
they
way,
say I a lot. I mean, maybe not.
Yeah,
I. That's it. And they say it like they can have an exclamation after it. You know, they might be calling your attention.
Yeah, true that.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or like some Hispanics, like Dominicans, they'll be like, "Oh yeah,
oh yeah,
oh yeah." Oh yeah. I hate that.
But yeah, nobody in South Korea said that to this dude. He's lying. Nobody in America said that to this dude.
In America?
In America. Maybe, no, in America, he had like 5 people would roll up to him and be like, yo, bro, why don't you just stop the damn testing? And then nobody can't come up positive.
This is the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, but nobody can't come up negative either. But nobody can come up positive. No more cases. Get it?
So stupid. I mean,
Get it?
no
So-
more testing. And as soon as he came off that friggin' thing, they tested him right away.
Yeah, exactly. Him and everybody that's important.
Yep.
But if you're not important, you're not going to get a test because you can't be a case. But you know what you also can't do? You can't treat anybody. Until it's too fucking late.
And they've spread it over and over and over.
So Trump, I mean, come on, bro. I only got but so much show time in the show. And we're only 31 seconds in. I need you to go at least
It's
a
just,
minute without saying something stupid.
that's impossible. It's already leading into another stupid thing.
I'm going to try, man.
For you today to declare the silent majority is stronger than ever before.
Silent
I
majority.
live for the applause. Please,
5
applause
months
for me.
from now, we're going to defeat Sleepy Joe
The
Biden.
fuck is the silent
When
majority?
rioting and looting broke out in our
Exciting.
nation's capital, I very quickly deployed the National Guard. I said, get them in. After watching for an evening or two, we stopped the violence and restored peace and order to the streets. And last night, they had a little breakout again. They ripped down a statue that was 110 years old, beautiful piece of art, in front of the police precinct with our radical left mayor watching on television. 2 days ago, leftist radicals in Portland, Oregon, ripped down a statue of George Washington
Look at his face.
and wrapped it
want
in an
to.
American flag and set the American flag on fire. Democrat.
Okay. Now, I've been seeing on social media, I guess the new thing is Antifa, and Antifa are supposed to be violent. And
Oh, yeah.
I've once again, I haven't seen any violence. I haven't heard
Me
of
neither.
any violence. What's the violence? Like motherfucker, if you think that's violent, then you don't know what violence is. Like they're trying to make the Antifa to be like KKK or some shit.
Let's slow down that roll.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on.
Like once, yeah, like
Really?
I don't know what they're trying. Are they like the Crips and Bloods or KKK or?
I'll let you know when I see him, because so far
Yeah.
I haven't seen him.
I just seen a couple people in masks and hoodies, and they just ready to fight the other side that are ready to fight.
And that's not a group.
That's it.
That's not a group. It's not a group of people. That doesn't count.
They're just ready to fight. The other side is ready to fight.
That's all it is.
So, yeah. So I don't know who they are, what they're supposed to be doing. But if you go anywhere, any conservative board or any conservative person's social media thread, you're gonna hear about how horrible these people are. Yet you see no damage.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter is a racist organization, and if your response to, hey, can we cut some racism out? If your response to that is, I am rubber, you are glue, whatever you say to me bounces off of me, sticks to you, then you're probably a racist.
Yeah.
That just bounce all over the place.
Yep.
And you probably usually bounce wherever the racist stuff is. That's where you like to bounce to.
Yes, oh, there's another one. Let's go over there.
Yeah, let's go over there. Bang, bang, bang. You're not bouncing over to the non-racist stuff
Nope.
because you're gonna get called out of your bullshit, and that's gonna be uncomfortable.
It's no fun.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like how I was saying before. You can't be, yeah. Nobody's saying, hey, stop worldwide racism. In fact, people would just say stop the violence before they say stop worldwide racism.
Yeah.
Because people are violent for reasons that have nothing to do with race.
Right.
And if you could stop the violence, then that would cure worldwide racism, I guess. No, probably
I don't
still
think
wouldn't.
so.
People
We
still be
still have
racist
it.
towards each other. They
Yeah.
just wouldn't be violent towards each
Exactly.
other.
It's easy for people to be racist
Exactly,
without being
because
violent.
race is what you think. It's in your heart.
Exactly. And it's easy to spit shit out.
But it doesn't have to be mandated. You feel me?
Right.
It's like right now, people fucking hated that when Obama passed the health care joint, the watered down version required that you have health insurance. Otherwise, you can be taxed for it. Well, we pay taxes so that racist laws, Jim Crow laws, could be on the books.
Yeah.
And sometimes enacted. Black people paid the taxes in the same municipalities in which they had Jim Crow laws.
Yeah.
You feel me?
It's a strange realization.
We talked about the Lovings earlier. Well,
Yeah.
he worked. He paid taxes.
Oh, yeah.
And he couldn't marry his shorty. He was thrown in jail.
Yep.
You feel me? And like I said, we did a little thing earlier about, our doppelgangers 400 years ago, 300 years ago, 200 years ago. Well, like we said, Alabama just changed changed their constitution in 2000. We met in 99. You feel me? So
Yeah.
it's like, and it's just 20 right now. So 20 years ago.
Yep.
20 years ago. We got children that just made the cut.
Just made the cut. Yep.
Just made the cut, or I don't know. We might have to send them back to sender.
Yeah. Return to sender.
Yeah. You feel me? So it's like nah, cut it out with that. You can't be like if your whole thing is, well, you're racist towards me, I'm racist, then you two have beef. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
A private organization can be racist all at once. If you guys love those statues, take all the motherfuckers and put them in your yard.
Yeah. Put them in your yard. Build a museum for yourselves.
Yeah, put them in your yard. No, put them in your front yard. It says you love these statues so much and these flags so much. Just cover your house with it. I don't want to see the brick anymore. I just
I
want to
think
see.
you should put one in the living room. So
No.
it's
I want them in the front yard
as a centerpiece.
with fucking billboards. I want anybody who love this shit. Just cover every inch of your front yard with it, and then you'll probably wonder why people don't really like coming over your house that much. Because even people that agree with you still gonna be like, man, I ain't going over there.
I know.
And the people who do show up are gonna be showing up to take pictures of this crazy ass place. So yeah, go ahead, do that. You know what I mean? Like create how they got the wax museum. Create the Confederate crazy museum. Just throw all that shit in your house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because that's a private situation and nobody can tell you can't. But it shouldn't be up in the school. That's a public situation.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be on the Capitol building. That's a public situation. Same people that gotta go in there and abide to those laws are the same one that gotta walk under that flag.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That the flag is shitting on. So
And it shouldn't be in front of our halls of justice.
Yeah, it should be
None of that shit.
Nothing public. Nothing public. If you want it, put it in your personal stash. By all means. By all means. If you want to turn your car into the General Lee, by all means. There's more people bitching about the General Lee than we've seen driving around in a General Lee.
I know.
Go do it. Or do you only need that when it's time for you to go around other people?
Yeah, well, you know.
Well, here, you see that shit flying all the time. So people brave, they love it. Fly it. Nobody's telling you can't. Mm-hmm. But they just telling you what it's going to mean, what people are going to
Exactly.
see when they see it.
It sends a message.
All Democrat. Everything I tell you is Democrat. And you know, we ought to do something, Mr. Senators. We have 2 great senators. We ought to come up with legislation that if you burn the American flag, you go to jail for 1 year. 1 year.
Okay.
So actually, that was my original point when I first paused this shit. I saw this on a conservative thread, and multiple, not just one, but that was the one I replied to. But either way, you can't under one thing be like, is my First Amendment right to support the Confederate flag? Mm-hmm. And it's our history. That's why you can't take it down and all that. And you trampling on my rights by taking it down. And then be like, well, but if you burn the flag, you go into jail.
Yeah.
There's here we don't represent symbols. We don't worship symbols in America.
Right.
That's Trumpistan, maybe in the Confederacy, if they would have succeeded and won the war, there would have been a lot of symbol worshiping, but they lost.
But yeah. So you can't have it.
There would have been slavery and symbol worshiping in America.
It'd be a totally different America.
America. But in America, good old US of A, we don't worship symbols here.
No, this is the dimension
We don't
where
do
we
that.
don't.
The flag, hold on. So they got a problem with you burning the flag, but they didn't have a problem with people burning people.
Yeah,
There's a reason why it's illegal to destroy money, U.S. currency, because technically the money doesn't belong to you.
right,
You're just using it in exchange. It was distributed to you.
right.
You know, and you have nothing to do with how much of that paper entity is circulating in and out of society. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
I'm assuming there's some place where they probably can pull out a journal or ledger and be like, yeah, we currently got $1 billion $1 bills out there, and you know what I
they're
mean?
tracked. Yeah, that's why they have
Yeah.
numbers on them.
Exactly. And eventually they pulled and they washed and they cleaned and they're destroyed. It doesn't belong to you. But
Yep.
the flag itself, you can make a flag. You can make a flag.
Yeah.
You can wear a flag.
Yep.
You can get dirty in a flag. Wipe your ass with a flag.
Yeah.
You know. And if you have flag underwear, you probably are every time you fucking move in them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody use bidets.
Bidets.
Bidets. Bidet.
No,
Bidet.
I knew you were gonna do that.
But nobody use bidets. Matter of fact, some people don't even wipe their ass bidets in America. Some Americans,
They got their own stripes.
yeah, don't wipe their ass bidets. Yeah.
They're creating their own stripes and bars.
But yeah, we don't have bidets here in America, so nah, you can do whatever you want. You know, if you wearing flag thongs, you know, they're gonna get a little smelly.
Ah,
You know what I mean? But, you know, but nobody's tripping. Nobody's tripping. Nobody's checking your laundry basket like, yo, what's up with these flag thongs? You know, I got flag socks. Well, I did yesterday. I don't have them on now.
I mean, some may consider, you're right, wearing like flag underwear disrespectful.
Yeah. I
You
got a
know?
romper. U.S. flag romper.
Yeah,
And I'll be wearing that joint too.
a full zip up.
Full zip up romper with a hood. I wish I had it on now because the back of my neck is a little chilly. Shit.
That's your outfit for
For 4th of July. You
Yep.
know what? I'll probably be rocking it when I'm sitting and chilling out in my romper. And anybody
Yep.
don't like it, don't come around me, bro.
Yep.
Like
I like your 4th of July
yeah,
getup.
I'm one of those that I look silly on that day.
I don't think you look silly. I think you look extremely patriotic.
Nah, yeah, sure, but nah, I don't mind looking silly.
I like I said,
I don't mind. I don't mind going for silly. You know.
the internet guy thought you looked pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably down with America too.
Mm-hmm. He seemed like he was.
So either way, but yeah, it's your First Amendment right to do whatever the fuck you want with the flag. You can make your own flag. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing, as far as I know. I mean, Google real quick. Is it illegal to make your own flag? I don't think it is.
No, it's not. I mean, if it is, how many?
No, just for shits and giggles. You know.
How many people should be arrested for making masks?
Exactly. Or yeah, like I said, you make the underwear, you make it a
And why
flag.
would they sell the fabric in stores?
Yeah, exactly. But still, just for shits and giggles. While Trump is talking that talk.
1 year. Biden is a very willing Trojan horse for socialism. These police officers, they get injured. They don't complain. They're incredible. And injure thousands upon thousands of people only to hear the radical fake news say what a beautiful rally it was. And they never talk about COVID. They don't talk about when you see 25,000 people walking down Fifth Avenue or walking down a street of a Democrat-run city. You never hear them saying they're not wearing their mask. By the way,
because they do be wearing masks.
Yeah. Pay attention.
Yeah, look at the pictures. You're going to see tons of motherfuckers wearing masks.
Like, come on.
Nick Cannon was wearing a mask.
Like,
They do be wearing masks. Like, you never hear them talk about COVID. And that's another thing. We're not going to let motherfuckers be distracting. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
look, enough with squirrel. No, you cold busted. Now shut your mouth because you cold busted. Like Orange Juice Jones said.
Orange Juice Jones.
Yeah, you cold busted, homie. Like you don't give a fuck about COVID. So don't be talking about COVID. In this little super rally, America rally, where it's supposed to be like 1 billion people in there. Well, 1 billion people didn't show up. So they had a lot of space there. He could have did his people a solid. I got covert in my remarks. You know what I'm gonna do? All right, everybody, spread the fuck out.
Yes, I thought the same thing.
Spread the fuck out, everybody. And then he could have been like, see, at my rally, we care about the people. We care about COVID.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, if you have all this room, do yourself a solid. Spread these people out. Make yourself look responsible.
Like to homie, it's June going into July. This shit was supposed to be over by April.
Yeah, the heat is here, man. I don't know where you're at, but man, just come over here. It is hot over here.
It was supposed to be over by Easter.
Yeah, like this shit is still going. Where does it have to be hot for it to go away?
And so now he wants to talk about COVID, and you're gonna hear a lot about pedophiles. Mm-hmm. I don't know where all this pedophile shit came from.
Oh, what?
All this. Oh no, go ahead.
Your whole flag question. It is not illegal to make an American flag. And there is a thing called a flag code. It's a federal code.
Yeah.
It's recommended etiquette, but it's not legally binding.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So you can wear it. I mean, it's not etiquette to wear American flag underwear, but it's not legally binded.
And even then, it's probably like, I don't know if maybe government workers and things like that might be held to a certain standard, especially if you're going to fly that on a government or a public facility.
Right.
There's a code to what you do with it, how you take it down. Especially in the military, there's a code to how they folded, all that jazz. But for regular American,
Regular
American, I can do whatever I want in the good old U.S. of
America.
U.S. of America. Exactly. U.S. America.
Yeah.
U.S. America.
You got to be missing like your 4 back teeth in order to say that right.
U.S. America. Diamond and silk are in my cabinet. Shit. Ben Carson's my Department of Defense.
I wonder why they didn't go to Trump's rally. They should have been there. They would have filled the
Man,
rest of the
those
stadium.
because they canceled. They didn't serve their purpose. That shit is over.
You would think they'd try to get back on the train.
Question has more names than any disease in history. I can name Kung Flu. An emboldened left will launch a full-scale assault on American life. You know that. They'll expel anyone who disagrees with them. Look what happens when you disagree. You use a term that's perfect and they're not happy with it. They call you a racist. They call you a horrible person.
So now we're on the... and so here's once again. This is why these Kool-Aid drinkers are the most bitch-ass motherfuckers on the planet. For starters, the bleach drinkers, if the gun didn't exist, if the gun didn't exist and they didn't have fucking 100 years of rules in place that allowed them to stockpile the guns and access to the guns and things like that. Because it ain't no coinky dinky that down here you could just go grab a shotgun. You know
yeah, you just walk into any Walmart.
And it also ain't no coinky dinky that motherfuckers
if you're white.
It also ain't no coinky dinky that motherfuckers get locked up constantly so they can lose their fucking ability to just go grab a shotgun.
Yep.
So anyway, so they got the gun. All right. So now I got the gun. I'm Mr. Badass. America. Badass.
Badass America.
Badass America. But when they got a chance to do something ill, they dropping a bomb. They burning a motherfucker up. They lynching the motherfucker. They doing something that causes death.
Yep.
And then they partying like it's 1999.
They accept no other terms.
No other terms. Death. And it doesn't matter if it's just one of you or all of you. Mm-hmm. But their worst fear is being called names. This is what they're complaining about, bro. The other side is saying they want to send us to jail. They want to fucking kill us in the streets. And they're complaining about names.
You got me a name.
You got me names. Why don't you just be nice and give me my Egg McMuffin?
Yeah.
Like, you remember that bitch?
Yeah.
The fucking cop crying over, hey, just be nice with people, cops. I don't hear thank you anymore. Because nobody don't need a thank you.
Yeah, it's your job. Like,
yeah, like nobody fucking
keep it moving.
You don't see any sanitation workers going around talking about, man, why we don't get no thank yous, bro?
Exactly. You don't see the garbage people. Like, yeah, just stop it and
like, hey
wait
guys,
for you to wave.
Hey guys, I'm about to do a live, guys. This is my first live. I just picked up all the trash in the hood, and you know what? Nobody said thank you.
Yeah.
Like, no, that shit never happens.
Go do your job, get your paycheck, move it along.
Yeah, do your job, do it right.
Like, you know how many times we've had to sit at a McDonald's reserve spot to wait for 2 cheeseburgers. It's the less complicated thing on their menu.
And then get no ketchup.
And get nothing. And you sit in line, first of all, to order for like a solid 7 minutes.
And it's not exclusive to McDonald's either.
Oh, no, it's not. Then you pull up to the one, you pay for your shit, and they say, excuse me, can you just pull up ahead just a little bit? Next thing you know, you're waiting there for twice as long as you waited to order your food. And then you don't usually get everything you need.
Yeah. And the COVID stuff didn't help.
And it happens to regular people all the time.
All the time.
Like, why you on this day?
I bet she's...
Is it any special?
I bet she's expedited through the line, through the process more than a regular person is. You know what I mean?
Probably.
And the reason why she said she paid for her stuff on the app because a lot of times people will see that a cop is behind them and will want to pay for that person's order.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And she just didn't want to have to deal with that or anything. So she
really?
Yeah. So
you know what would be cool if the cop paid for the person behind them.
Yeah, that would be dope too.
That would be super dope.
You know,
let's start there.
I've had people pay for stuff.
Oh yeah, people.
But regardless of the situation, bro, You know what I'm saying? Regardless of the situation. They you've already received niceness. You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, why don't people just say thank you? Well, you just set by your own admission. Sometimes they pay for your fucking food.
Exactly.
You want free food and thank yous?
Yeah.
You know, every place, especially in the South, every place. Are you a first responder or military? Then you get your discount. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Like, get your act together,
Yeah, man.
do your job right, and then people will probably show more love for you and then stop freaking arguing as if it's impossible for you to not get your job right. It's impossible for you to not be doing wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's the one thing I don't hate much. And I don't hate pretty much any type of person. I dislike things. I prefer like not to be around it. But like I said, it's all about proximity to what the root of that problem is that determines my level of hate or how long it lasts. But
How long it lasts.
yeah. But concepts, I hate concepts, and I hate crybabies. You know, I hate someone who has expectations, undeserved expectations. You know, and it's like I said, like, lady, do your job right, and people will be happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I hate people who act as if I hate the concept of acting as if you just can't be wrong. Like, you just couldn't have possibly or done wrong, or your side could you know, it's just like this whole racism bullshit or the Confederate flag bullshit. It's like, no, it's not that. Like, really, bro? Like, there's no part of you that can see that there could be a teeny tiny bit of slavery.
It's almost like
there.
they don't even try to look at it the other way. You know what I mean? Like, they don't. It doesn't exist.
I don't even know if they're trying or not, but they're saying no. So you know you can't. If if I see two eyes on your fucking face, I'm telling you, you got two eyes. You might be like, well, one of them don't work. Okay, one of them don't work, but
there's still two there.
Still two there, just one fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, so open them both and look.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that people have with the cops. Like, they've built up this institution, and they know it's deliberate that we do not do anything wrong. We don't do anything wrong. Mm-hmm. That's what he was going to go and say right now. He was about to be like, yeah, the cops, they get injured all the time. And just because they injure just a few protesters, now people want to, you know, defund them and all this. It's like, look, one, stop, squirrel.
Yeah.
And two, yeah, they do injure a lot of people. And that needs to be addressed, regardless of how many protests there are out there. If one person gets injured, that should be addressed.
I know. They're not traffic cones. They're people.
Yeah, cops don't get the. Cops going.
It don't matter if it's a few or if it's one. They're people.
Like, when I would like to speak to anybody in law enforcement, especially a higher up. Okay, you guys got all these billy clubs and everything. When you hand a cop a billy club, is there anything to it? Like, it's just like when you know, Pop is about to hand you the keys to the T-Bird. You know what I mean? You're gonna be like, all right, be careful.
Right.
Bring this T-Bird in the way I gave it to you. You know what I mean? With some gas in it, not fucked up, and don't do anything that I wouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? You hear it all the time.
Yeah.
Do you just give the cop the billy club? Like, go on, have some fun. Break a leg.
But yes. Good luck now.
Yeah, literally break a leg in the skull if you can. Like, you don't. There's no warning sticker on it that says, "Hey, you know, there is a report for every, you know, concussion caused by this thing." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing
No
given
heads
to.
up. Nope.
Yeah, no heads up. Just here's your billy club. Go have some fun. Like I would imagine if they gave me a billy club, they'd be like, okay, you can only use this billy club in this
Right.
in this situation, and you can't use it in this situation, and you don't want to blah 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 with the billy
Right.
club. But nah, they're like, fuck it, we can do whatever we
You can
want,
use it in any way,
any way we want, as long as
any part of the body.
hey, and as long as nobody sees it, it don't count.
And it don't
it's like
count.
it's like testing for COVID.
Yep. It just didn't happen.
Stop the test, and there's no cases.
Slow it down.
Kill them all. Kill every suspect of color.
And there won't be any more.
And there won't be any cases.
That's right.
So, there we have it.
Today, I'm also announcing that I have.
Which is, actually, I'm kind of done with you, Trump. Which is kind of
Doesn't
where.
his voice get to you after a while?
Yeah, which is kind of where they were saying with the whole Brooks case. Is just that. It's like, well, once force is used, we can't let a suspect escape. We just can't.
He's unarmed. Where was he going? You had his information.
And, okay, great. But I don't think that truly asks the question that needs to be asked. Where is he going? You got his information? I don't know. If I'm a cop, I say, I don't know. How do you know he was going to his sister's house? How do you know his sister lived there? How do you know that car wasn't stolen? How do you know a lot of things? You feel me?
Okay.
Things that you nor I have an answer to. But the one thing that and the answer to those questions might not be important at this point because one, the guy's dead, but two, okay, cool, but you guys are the cops. You guys got a way of catching one black guy. You know what I mean?
Well, again, he was still unarmed, on foot, like.
But regardless, the point that I'm trying to make is because when people say that, then they allow the cops to build a scenario in which what they did seems plausible, seems like the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did have he was unarmed, but he was drunk and he was overly strong. We wrestled with the guy. You didn't. He was a menace. He was not somebody we would want running down the street. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, a jury might believe that. You know what I'm saying? Like, all we have is just that picture, that video.
Right.
At that point, he got away. Now they pulling up his history. Has he ever slapped his girlfriend? Has he ever did any of those things? So those things matter once they shot him and killed him. Because none of those things played into the thing. That's why we're like, well, you can't say you shot him because he slapped his girlfriend last week.
Right.
He wasn't about to slap her today. Mm-hmm. But if you let him flee, then they can say, well, this is why we had to send 50 niggas after him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And tear up the whole neighborhood, which is another situation we saw in old movies. Where is he at? Because you don't want us to kick in every door in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
we're reverting right back to what it was.
So, but getting back to where I was saying is, I hear you loud and clear. Once a use of force is shown, you can't just let a suspect flee. But now that begs other questions. Who has to show that force? Does it matter? If it's once force is shown by a suspect, we can't let him flee. Or once it's shown by a cop, we can't let him flee. Because if it's shown by the cop, then once the cop decides, hey, I'm taking you in, now you can't let him flee.
Right.
So, with that said, to what extent does that go? And now everything that you're saying flies into the mix. And meaning, okay, once a cop force was shown, they fought, dude got a taser, we can't let him go. Okay, well, what does that mean? Does that mean if there was a tank nearby, the tank would have just fired on him?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like by any...
Yeah, exactly. By any means necessary, you guys are going to catch him. Is there a degree in which you just can't pursue him? Would a drone had dropped a bomb? Would you, if there was 100 cops nearby, would you have to say, we need 100 cops to chase it? At what? Because what you did do was you fired 3 shots. 2 hit him and 1 hit a car that was parked right nearby, parked right there in the driveway. So you basically killed 1 and assaulted another dude.
Yeah.
All because force was shown. So therefore, and even then, what was the charge?
Exactly.
If force is shown and you have to catch them, then Okay, you caught them, but what was the charge? He's dead now.
Right.
So you couldn't have charged him with assault on a cop,
Right.
which is what I said earlier. Had they caught him, they could have charged him with firing that taser. They could have charged him with resisting arrest. They could have charged him with a gang of shit. But now he's innocent of all that. It's just like he didn't fucking do it. You feel me? So to what extent? Is it to the extent that we have to catch him, to the extent that we violate his civil rights? Because like and that's the question that has to be asked. Is a suspect, is a person of color, even when they're being pursued, are they still entitled to their civil rights?
Right. Yeah.
If they are, then this cop was wrong. If they aren't, then I guess anything goes.
Right. Where's the line?
Yeah, where's the line? Mm-hmm. Because we've gotten too easy with you flinch, you die.
Yeah. We need a line. We need
Exactly.
to know.
We need to know.
Are we losing our rights the moment that happens?
Because the population needs to know. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're creating, and Supreme Court has already decided that separate but equal is not constitutional. It's
That's
unconstitutional. Right. You can't have separate but equal.
Right.
Well, you're creating a population that is separate from the general population that has different sets of rules and different sets of liberties.
Right.
Their job protects them from any wrongdoing.
Mm-hmm.
Their job also allows them to shoot and kill someone else, without any regard. Mm-hmm. There's no other profession that allows that in America. You can't be a doctor and just, yeah.
No,
I'm so done with this surgery.
Done. Yeah.
Done.
Let me just half-ass these things so I can get past it.
Yo,
yo,
I am so dying for a cigarette, bro. Can you please, hand me that cigarette, bro. I'm about to have a cigarette.
Yeah, like everyone is held responsible.
Even pilots still get their shit. Kobe Bryant's wife is suing, I guess, the family or the pilot or the estate of that pilot. And you know what? Hey, she might have a claim. We live in America where you get to sue everybody.
Yeah.
But you can't sue cops.
No, exactly.
It's like, if everybody...
Why is it so hands off? They cause the most damage.
Exactly. So you basically creating a second class, another citizenry.
Right.
That is above the Constitution.
Right.
Whereas all the rest of us have to live within that. And if when you're doing that, you inherently eroding the rights of those who do have to follow the Constitution.
Right.
You're basically eroding their constitutional rights because you have to make way for the rights that you're giving to these people. Mm-hmm. You can't give a cop more rights and keep mine at the same level. No, you have to take some shit away from me, especially if that cop is interacting with me. So it's kind of interesting how that happens and how those things work. And, I figure right now is a great time to take a break. When we get back, we'll start blazing through some of these packages. And, but yeah, I like that it sets the stage for when we get back, which is, not only are you creating a second-class citizenship, but you also, that you're emboldening them with this belief. You know what I'm saying? The superiority. Yeah, belief. And, that's never going to be good. So we're going to take this break, and we'll be back, folks.
Yep.
Hey, when that shit touch, man, I just do the running man.
What up, folks? It's your boy TMC here. Just wanted to give another PSA about budget. You have a budget. I have a budget. Hell, freaking dog catcher has a budget. We all have budgets. Key is working within those things, and sometimes being able to make more out of a little less. And you're just now starting out as an artist. Maybe you have a project in which you don't have a big budget for. Or maybe you just want to do some behind-the-scenes stuff. Well, that's where we come in.
Glock 19, you don't want it, man. Gotta sell a little 80 where you want it.
Guys, thanks for watching. And to see more T4J content, please visit TMC4JMC.com.
And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe down below.
That's what's up. Peace. All right. And we are baby back. All right. So this segment, throughout the course of the show, I've been kind of talking about just things that I've been seeing on conservative threads, and I meant to do this segment on Saturday when we were doing the show, but then we stopped to do other things, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because it allowed me to see what I saw and kind of have a different perspective. Okay. Before I was feeling a little militant, you know what I mean?
Right.
Now I'm feeling less. I'm feeling more inclusive.
Oh,
and
okay.
and one thing I wanted to say is that, for starters, Black Lives Matter. When people say Black Lives Matter, and we've touched on this several times,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where you kind of have to keep going at it because you can't let people change the narrative. Right now, you see everything, pedophiles and sex traffickers. What about that? No, that's something totally different. We'll deal with that. We can deal with that together once Black Lives Matter.
Right.
Black Lives Matter doesn't mean your life doesn't matter. It's up to you to decide how you feel about your life. It just means regardless of however you feeling, Black Lives Matter.
Right.
It's not exclusive as much as it sounds. It's actually inclusive. Meaning, hey, my life matters. So let's go deal with pedophiles.
We all have to
together.
care, yeah.
Yeah, we all have to care. We all have to care, and we all have to care about each other. And, and whenever you fight that, then you're fighting the notion that we all have to care about each other.
Right.
And that's just not true.
And it's not American.
It's not American. So you hear a lot of things like racism is dead, or was dead, or we even touched on this a little earlier. Reverse racism is a thing.
Right.
All these things that never existed before, when racism was just the norm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it was just the norm, no one ever said the term reverse racism.
Right.
That's some shit that popped up recently.
Yeah, it's not very, very old.
Yeah, exactly. It's a baby. In terms of...
Yeah, it's not very... Every once in a while, it'll have a resurgence.
Exactly.
But, especially when you calling somebody out and they're like, no, you're using reverse racism. And it's like, no, you can't pull that card all the time.
And
It's
if you
not your
notice,
get out of jail
those who
free card.
pull the reverse racism card never pull the racism card first.
Right.
Like, you ever say somebody that's like, it's usually when you say, like you said, you're a racist. Well, it's reverse. What about reverse racism? They never had, prior to being called out for being racist, they never had a problem with racism.
Right. They never used it as an offense, and now you want to use it as
They never walked
defense.
around being like, yo, I'm offended right now. There's a lot of reverse racism going on. And I just don't.
Yeah.
Like, even when they talk about, like, the kids that white kids that grew up in black neighborhoods.
Right.
And maybe they were picked on and things like that. Well, those kids never grow up feeling like people are being racist towards them. You know what I'm saying? And there has to be a question of why. Why? Is it because ultimately there's something in them, being that they're white, that they still kind of feel a little, even though they're getting their ass kicked, they still feel a bit of superiority.
Yeah.
Ebro and them touched on that when they were talking shit about Howard Stern.
Yep.
That even though he grew up poor, it didn't mean that they didn't have the white superiority mindset.
Right.
I don't feel that way, but
I don't either. After we talked about it, yeah, I don't feel like that.
But that's that's their show. Or that white kid just when in Rome, you in Rome, so he just feel like those are his people, even though ultimately he knows the difference. But then again, that person sometimes they take that. But when they leave that area, it's not like they took what they grew up with. Like a black person, they usually, whatever they learned and was molded into them in their hood, they take with them.
Right.
Even if, because it's not like everybody leave the hood and get all clean and shit. No. Some of them leave the hood and stay
They
where they
take
were.
the hood with them,
Some
yeah.
of them were clean in the hood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they see somebody who's a lawyer right now. That doesn't mean he was a thug when he was 15.
Right. And he then transformed,
Yeah, and he
like, you know,
transformed
like
to
a
lawyer one day.
superhero and shit.
Exactly. No, he was a cool kid in smarty pants in the hood, and now he's a lawyer.
Yeah.
And everybody in the hood knew he was going to become a lawyer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, so just talking about those white kids, it all depends on where they went. When Howard Stern seems to talk about his time in Roosevelt, he talks about it with a little bit of disdain. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He talks about it sentimentally, but even people who had a rough childhood in an abusive household
Right.
will still have sentimental attachment to the household.
Sure.
You feel me? So, you know, so I don't know. I don't know if there's a little bit of truth to what they're saying based on where he went once he left that hood or not. But the point that I'm getting at is that sometimes good people just don't know any better. And I think we at a point now where we kind of have to get people away from saying, well, just because you didn't go get the information, you're a bad person. Maybe we all have to be the bearer of bad news.
Yeah.
And right now, until understandings are made, there's going to be a lot of bad news coming. And people are going to have to deal with that. Put it this way. Nick Wright from Speak for Yourself, he had a great point today. They were talking about the noose put in Bubba Wallace, the NASCAR driver.
Crazy story.
Garage, the only black NASCAR driver. And I love what NASCAR did. They went and they all stood with him and walked beside his car. Yo, check it out. It's on the internet.
Yeah. I think the whole, you know.
Dope City to NASCAR.
I don't know. Yeah.
Not for nothing, NASCAR. Hey, you know what?
They surprised me.
You might get yourself another fan, bro.
Yeah, they surprised me.
Can you imagine NASCAR with a T4J symbol on that bitch?
Oh, that would be dope.
But yeah, I don't know, NASCAR. You might have. I like cars. I like driving fast.
I like watching them drive fast.
You know what I'm saying? I never really thought about it before because I didn't think it was for me. I didn't think my point of view was welcome in NASCAR.
I didn't think so either.
So now that it's not about all that, it's just about enjoying NASCAR. Mm-hmm. Let's roll.
Yeah.
Because they were making it seem like NASCAR was part of all that other bullshit.
Yeah, that's
You know what
how
I'm
I
saying?
associated
exactly.
it.
Like you don't feel like you got to be down with the hood to go to a football game.
No.
You don't feel like you got to be
No.
down. Now, if you want to sit in down by the in the good seats, you might have to feel like you part of fucking Rodeo Drive or Park Avenue.
Yeah.
Either that or you got some tickets from work.
Yeah.
But, if you want to get in a box, you know the difference between you and the people who could afford that box.
But that's a totally different.
But ultimately, you do not have to feel like you are, in a different world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Baseball the same way,
Any
basketball
sport.
the same way.
Yeah.
Well, there was a time
Soccer.
but there was a time where NASCAR, the whole presentation was just engulfed in that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So if you didn't agree with that, you just assumed that that's what the environment was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that may or may not have been true.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like, for example, going to the Hershey, the car show in Hershey.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yep.
And yo, we were behind enemy lines, bro.
Oh my gosh.
This was during the Hillary Trump election, and all the lock her ups and all
the stickers, the posters,
just the calling this woman names, and you got women wearing things that are calling her names. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that this lifestyle, these motherfuckers, you've also accepted that it's okay to call me dumb and call me this and call me that. I'll be that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and then you double down on it. and then it's become cool to double down on being dumb. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And to the point where you can't come out of it. Mm-hmm. To where you can't be like, no, actually, I'm smart. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know,
Now you can't redeem
now you
yourself.
can't redeem yourself. Nobody don't want to hear you on
Yeah.
shit because you've just doubled down on dumbness so much. So hopefully those who don't double down, we are here to give just a little bit of information, bro.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I don't,
Okay.
just real quick, but, you know, it's indicative of our history still up. What you were talking about Hershey, that's up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Which was one of the states.
Exactly.
One of the few states that really fought tooth and nail for slavery and against rights for black people. I mean, they enforced their laws.
Pennsylvania was in the Confederacy?
Yeah. Pennsylvania is one of the states that had the segregation laws.
Oh, okay. But they didn't have slavery. I mean, not in terms of Union and Confederacy.
You know what?
Pennsylvania is one of the first states. I don't think they were.
They're not part of the 13 colonies.
Probably not, but they're not part of the Union. They weren't in the Confederacy.
No, they were not. But they did have their own set of, like I said, segregation laws.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that.
They're pretty strict.
Yeah, they. I wouldn't doubt that at all. But
And even today, you still see it a little.
Oh
bit.
yeah, you definitely still see it. Then again, you see it in South Jersey, you see it in upper North New York, like rural areas. You see it. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I don't know if I've seen it up in New York or New Jersey.
Really, South Jersey? Well, then you haven't talked to people that at our old job. I don't want to call any names, but they'll tell you straight up.
Interesting.
I've seen trucks. I've seen the Confederate flag in Jersey on people's shit, not like on anything. But yeah.
But yeah, the whole Bubba Wallace situation is really like that. That is upsetting. I mean, damn, dude's name is Bubba. Yeah, I mean, come on, seriously.
And the thing is that like I said, people have been convinced that racism is dead in this country or was dead, and that all this stuff is just bringing it up.
We just kicked it back up.
It's kicking it back up, but it was actually dead, and that these organizations, these organizations that are trying to shine light on it are just stirring up something that wasn't stirred. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They're starting up something. Yeah.
Yeah. So when they say that makes me ask two questions. The first question is, are you saying that when you're saying racism is dead, do you really mean it's kind of like the monster movie where the monsters actually sleep, you know what I'm saying, down in the cave, and then these
dormant.
Dormant, and these assholes come down and they
they wake it up.
Look at this, a monster, wake up. And then it wakes up and we got racism everywhere.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't dead. It was just waiting for some shit to wake it back up. Or are you saying that it's actually dead? Like racism didn't exist. It was wiped off. It was eradicated.
Extinguished.
It was eradicated.
That's ignorance.
And then these organizations created racism. They saw an opportunity to create racism. They invented it. They reinvented racism.
Because we need other problems.
Yeah. They found the blueprint to racism because that's exactly what black people need. Black people need to, but the problem is with that argument is if you say that racism didn't exist until these organizations came around, then you're saying that they are the racist ones. But who are they racist towards? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If Black Lives Matter or I hear this Antifa, I gotta look them up, and I promise on the next show I'm gonna look them up and find out who the fuck they are. You know what I'm saying? Because I gotta get educated on that. But either way, Black Lives Matter. If you're saying Black Lives Matter is a racist organization, who are they racist towards? White people? So are we now equating them to like an extreme? Yeah, like, and they're racist to white people for what? To what end?
Right. For what reason?
Yeah, for what reason? White people are the majority. So what are they racist to what for what end?
Right.
Like give us what? Stop doing what? Or you need to do what? You know what I'm saying? Like generally racism is a position of power. And that's another reason why when they say, "Hey, it's reverse racism," it can't be, because if when you think the slaves weren't racist towards their masters? But did it fucking mean anything?
Yeah, no, because it didn't go anywhere.
It meant nothing.
It meant,
It meant nothing. It's like ants might be speciesism. That's not a word.
No,
But
it's not.
but let's just say it was. Maybe ants have issue with us, with humans, but we don't even fucking notice. Every time you see ants, they could be just
Speciesisms.
yeah. Look at these fucking humans. Fucking
Yeah.
dirty humans.
All tall and lanky and
You human
heavy.
nerds.
Yeah. We're hated on by the ant
You know what I'm saying?
colonies.
But we don't. It's irrelevant. It doesn't register. We don't care. You know what I'm
because
saying?
it's so small, it doesn't
It's so
even
small.
ring. On
It
our-
doesn't even
yeah.
ring. Exactly. So that's the reason why you can't scream this reverse bullshit. It's you know, it's like Goliath saying, "Ouch." David pinched me. Ouch. He threw a rock at me. You know what I'm saying? Like no, you know, you're the big boys. You know what I'm saying? You use this tool.
Right.
Now you can't be like, ow, ow. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work that way. Racism is a position of power. I got to be in a position to exert my racism on you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Me just, and that's one thing, like,
There's a feeling
with
behind
your brother in the situation, that situation where they was walking past the homeless dude, you know, our brother-in-law, and he said what he said.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, yes, the guy was he was spewing off hate.
He was spewing hate.
And one might say he hates you for your race, but it could be more that he hates you for your position and the fact that you're just like him. You know what I'm saying? You weren't born here. You weren't this, that, and the other. Why are you so great? What happened? What's up with you? You know what I'm saying? What kind of privileges you got that I'm not even? Damn, I can't even get that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
None of that shit makes it right, but it makes it less. And it's still hate, but it's not.
That's the thing, though.
There's no power there.
There's hate in racism. That is the root of it. That is
Yes.
the root of racism is hate. What is the root of reverse racism? It's not hate.
Yeah, exactly. Guilt. I guess I don't even know.
Like, yeah, but you're gonna hold guilt.
Like, you know what?
No,
It's bitch assness. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
it's gotta be.
bitch assness. It's like, what's at the root of? It's cowardice. You know what I'm saying? That's what I
Yeah.
think is at the root of reverse racism. You know,
And if there isn't anything at the root, then it can't exist.
because hate is at the root of racism, but racism is an instrument in power. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if you have two entities, neither one of them have the ability to exert power over each other, then it doesn't really matter. And that's one of the reasons why it's like, if you sit here trying to eradicate hate out of this world, or eradicate, I guess, racism out of this world, it's going to be tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't come
because-
at me with reverse racism. It doesn't wipe out your racism.
There is a term in the Asian community called Lu. It's kind of like,
Lou?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's Lu. It's kind of like Karen. It's it's what Asian, and I don't know if it's Asian men or if it's the community as a whole, but it's what they call Asian women who attach themselves to white men. And they assume that they're just doing that that they're giving up themselves, and they're just doing that because they want to be white, or they want to be attached to that, and to do so that they're projecting that submissive Asian woman stereotype.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
this is cool. This is fascinating.
The wife of that cop, that Derek.
Yeah, the Asian guy. The Asian guy.
No,
Oh.
he was the white one, the one that actually kneeled on his thing. He's married to an Asian woman.
Oh, okay.
And she filed for divorce immediately. She wanted to change her name. Well, she's getting, static from her community. They're calling her Lou, and they're calling her this, that, and the other.
Oh, wow.
So.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, in that situation, one might ask, well, there's definitely a power dynamic there because in their numbers, they're able to exert power over her. There's a reason why I guess a lot of these K-pop people commit suicide because I guess the fan base just grinds them into a pulp, and that their money and their
that stress
and all that shit can't defend them from.
This shit fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's all fast and bouncy.
And then all they move, they be like,
yeah. And then they're colorful and porcelain-like. You know what I mean?
All that shit is shot in front of green screen.
Yeah,
blue screen motherfuckers.
They're just so like dollish. They have like big hip doll hair and big doll eyes. Like they're all big and round with big eyelashes.
And they all like rail thin.
Yeah, and they're all like porcelain white with tiny little red lips.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't want to go too much into
it. Because anything beyond that might seem a little racist.
And it's just an observation.
Yeah. See, there's a line though. There's for comedians it's a little different because you're a comedian. But I think even for a comedian there's probably a line. I think maybe it's even in the delivery. But there is a line where you need to stop sometimes. You know?
I suppose. I mean, I guess it's also in the heart. Like I don't have, once again, any hate for K-pop dudes. So if I question why do they appear so effeminate to me, that could be that there's so much layered in that question.
Yeah.
Why do they appear so effeminate to me? Why do I look at that and see that as effeminate? Right now I'm putting the focus more on me and what's wrong with me, but also just why is it? What's in the Korean diet that keeps them thin? You know what I'm saying? Like me and my questioning brain questions it for information for to be included.
Yeah.
Not to exclude myself and just throw down destructive judgment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they eat tons of rice, and there's a lot of carbs in that. Like,
and it might be the dancing.
But I think they also walk a lot. I don't think they sleep as long as we do. They're probably more active. They're probably on the go all the time.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, but getting back to this thing, it's just that, so for people to say things like racism doesn't exist, it's one of those things that is like, where? Racism is dead in this country?
Yeah.
America? That's like, how? How do you get to that?
In what dimension?
Like, me, I like to do science. You know what I'm saying?
You like to do science.
I like to do science, man. Let's get my science on. So, Jeannie Buss, the owner of Lakers, she recently posted something on Instagram, just giving a shout out to Juneteenth. She understands. Don't get me started on sports and things like that, how that whole especially NFL is kind of set up off the plantation system. At least the NBA, you got a chance to buy your fucking freedom, man, and do your thing. But long story short, because I'm not even trying to get on that. See, you should have downloaded that sound effect.
Yeah.
See, told you.
I'm going to download a long story short sound effect.
You can't do it now. So
yeah.
Now you just got to pay attention. But so anyway, the owner, Jeannie Buss, she posted something on Juneteenth, giving a shout out to Juneteenth. And she should. 90% of her players are fucking black. Her stars are black. The reason why they might win the championship because of some black dudes. But even if that ain't the case, maybe she just sincerely want to give a shout out to Juneteenth. Well, this fan wrote back on her Instagram. He was like, I was a Laker fan for how many years? 50 or 60 years. Damn it. I hate my.
So he's a Laker fan for a long time.
Yeah, my Chromebook, what it happens is it goes, yeah. He says, after 60 years as a huge Lakers fan, I now say to hell with the overpaid N-word traders in the NBA. Go to hell and join N-word Kobe Bryant. Joe is
What?
his name, and they redacted his last name, but I'm just going to assume he said Joe N-word. Because it seems like everything that's redacted is N-word. So, there's so much to break down here scientifically.
I was wondering where the science came in.
All right. First off, now he says to hell with the overpaid N-word traders in the NBA. I don't know. They've always gotten paid.
Yeah.
I guess now he has a problem with how much they make. But obviously, the fact that he mentions it, there's a little bit of hateration in there. And for all I know, this dude could be Joe N-word, could be getting paid 10 times more than any of these overpaid N-words.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Overpaid N-word traders, actually.
Traders.
Yeah, and at some point he was cool with them being traders as well, N-word traders. Even at some point, so he was cool with everything as long as these N-words shut up and dribbled. You get the common denominator here. You can be overpaid, you N-word. You can be a trader, you N-word.
Yep.
But once you start freaking getting out of your place and doing other things other than basketball, now I had enough. I don't even know what they did to be a trader.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
Because he didn't,
He doesn't say.
He didn't really, say. But for 60 years, he put up with it.
Seems like he's a man of few words.
60 years, he put up with it, and now he's a little pissed.
Now. Oh, well,
Now
everybody
he's
has a
pissed.
breaking point. I
Yeah.
guess his was 60 years.
Now he's pissed that they're overpaid, and he's pissed that they're traders, and he's pissed at like, he's cool with them. He just didn't like the fact that one of his joined them. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So as long as these N-words shut up and dribble and know their place, and you stand with me with keeping them in their place, it's all good. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why those marriage laws were there. Because we can't have you marrying these N-words and then these N-words thinking that they one of us.
Yeah.
What, you want us to have
No,
Thanksgiving with this fucking N-word?
Yeah, no, you got to set a precedence
Yeah,
there.
no, you know better, right? You can't be marrying these N-words. Get out of here. That's like marrying your horse. Like, no.
Yeah, it's unheard of.
No. We sit here and watch them entertain us. And once they start talking all that other stuff, then now I'm out of here. So that's that. There's a little bit of hateration in the fact
That is an insane letter.
that the N-words get paid. But what's even more, and he started it by calling her a whore.
That is true hate right there.
So there's so much hate in that, in the sense that, once again, it's power.
That's embedded hate because, okay, so 60 years he's been a fan, right? So which has to make him, let's just say that at least 70.
You about to make my point.
No.
Yes, you are.
Oh, I didn't even know.
I told you earlier. He's at least 70, so that means he's old. And go ahead.
Oh, no, I totally forgot we had that conversation.
No, do your thing. Go ahead. No, you'll be better at it.
I'm just saying he should be tired now. Like,
He should be tired now? What do you
he's
mean?
70. I mean, come on, you're 70. Go chill out on the porch. Just-
You should be tired of being a racist?
yeah, like that's a lot. It's a long time to
Do
carry
you-
it around.
But do you ever get tired of being a racist? Do you ever, you know what I'm saying? Like why would you be tired of being a racist? Like, In fact, I would think the older you get, the more racist you become, because the older you get, the more things change in your life, things that you have no control over. You know,
Yeah,
by the time you're this old, your grandkids probably don't fucking agree with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Your kids probably still do, but your grandkids don't. Or your great grand.
You're the crazy old grandpa, racist grandpa.
But what I was gonna get at is that the when they're saying that there's no more racism in this world, in this country, sorry, it's how do this guy has been a fan, like you said, for 60 years. So he's probably 70, 80 years old. Mm-hmm. Let's say he became a fan at 5 years old, his father, whatever. So he's 65. So his father might still be alive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's very true. Very possible.
So, and this happened on Friday. So let's just say he's 65. That means his father's still alive, the person who taught him that bullshit. Mm-hmm. And he probably has children that are still alive.
Yep.
That he have that are well into their adulthood. Mm-hmm. That he taught that bullshit.
The 3 generations.
That might even have young bambinos right now in the toddler to teenage.
Yep.
That are being taught that bullshit.
Yep.
So there's no chain. When does the chain be broken? And let's say this guy was a cop. He was a cop. He was on the force for 40 years. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just retired 10 years ago. His son, because, white guys get a cop. His son probably get to automatically be a cop. They probably be like, oh, you're white? Yeah.
It's like something
that
that's
was a cop?
handed
Yeah,
down.
don't even worry about it. You ain't.
Yeah, it's like something that's handed down.
Don't I got to go to the academy? Yeah, but you ain't, man. Mm-hmm. So, son is a cop. And now his son is about to be a cop.
Yep.
Or wants to be a cop. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or maybe he wants to be a judge. You know what I mean?
Or a detective or something in law.
Yeah, something along those lines. So there you have 3 generations of racism embedded in the system. And then on top of that, you have books on laws on the books, language on the books that support what they feel.
Right.
So that's how at 70 years old, you never get tired of being a racist, because it's still in fashion. You know what I mean? Like, it's
awful.
It's still vogue to be a racist.
It's awful.
And now that people are fighting that is not, they're fighting against it. And they're being a little crazy. So
crazy ass old people. Crazy ass old people.
So what I wanted to do is is kind of just give a little bit of play. I wanted to play a couple of speeches that really hit home about how but before I do that, this thing just gonna go into Jim Crow a little bit. And I may not even get to all of the speeches, or maybe just play like a minute or so of them. Mm-hmm. But because I definitely want to go into the Jim Crow thing real quick, just to show people how just how these laws are got on into the system, into the thing. So because that same 60-year, that's still that fan of 60 years. Mm-hmm. Was alive when all this shit was at its height. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Well, he's alive now, but he was at his height. He was the man. He probably had a full set of hair, you know what I'm saying? Beard and you know.
Laws are changing and
you know what I'm saying? He was right there in the thick of things. He got to enjoy all this shit that we're talking about right now.
Right.
So, so there's no way it can be dead. It can't be dead because the numbers doesn't say it's dead. The math says it's still there. Oops, wrong one.
Boom.
Warning. If you do not know the significance of the 14th Amendment, watch at your own risk. A 14th Amendment video is linked in the description for your learning convenience.
Do you know what the 14th Amendment is?
The 14th Amendment, I just read this yesterday. It gives us due process and equal. No.
rights, and
Yeah.
I think it was part of freed the slaves.
Right.
I think even the 15th is what the marriage one now. You know what? I'm gonna back out from all that. But yeah, get up on the 14th Amendment, folks.
Hey guys, welcome to Hip Hughes History. We're going to take a quick look at the term Jim Crow, its meaning, its influence, its impact on the United States of America, because you need to know, whether you're a kid in school, whether you're a lifelong learner, or whether you're cray-cray on the internet, understanding Jim Crow should be a requirement of citizenship.
And I agree. Now, the reason why this is important, because one of the things that was said on this thread was that some of this stuff should be taught in schools. And it's kind of like enough with the distractions. Sometimes stating the obvious is a distraction. When we're all trying to figure something out, we're trying to do something, and you have somebody who's just, oh, and they stating the obvious, like they're adding in new information.
Right.
It's like, yo, what are you doing? You're slowing down the process. So maybe rather than saying it should have been taught in schools, question why. Just don't assume, just saying it should have been taught in schools is like, well, maybe they just didn't get around to it.
Right.
Or maybe they decided to teach something else.
It's an excuse.
Yeah. If this is history and they're supposed to be teaching history, and then you're defending history with you can't rewrite history,
right,
and it's obviously they didn't teach this in school, then obviously some kind of history was rewritten.
Yeah.
So, even now, they barely teach civics and economics in school.
Really?
And yeah.
That was big when we were going to school.
Yeah. At least from what I've seen, they haven't. But
wow. Oh, the 15th Amendment. So important. It's the right to vote.
Oh, look at that. For everybody?
Yes, for everybody.
Oh, okay. Apparently. But, and just getting back to Black Lives Matter a little bit. When people say something like Black Lives Matter, once again, I said it earlier, it's not exclusive. Put it this way. When women were saying, hey, we want to vote, let us vote, they weren't saying, well, we don't think you shouldn't be able to vote.
Right.
They were just saying we women should be able to vote. Voting should just be for
our opinion counts too.
Yeah, it shouldn't just be for white men.
Yeah, exactly.
It should be for white men and white women.
Right. We make decisions too. All of us. It
should be for white men and white women.
Yeah.
But it should be for women. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So that's all they're saying. It's like, yeah, our opinions matter. Mm-hmm. Our votes matter.
Women matter.
Women matter. And they do. You know what I'm saying? So, and nobody assumed, all they did was just, in that movement, they questioned women's ability to earn the right to vote. Mm-hmm. You know, they questioned their ability to their competence to vote. So you have to ask, why are you questioning, does Black Lives Matter? Are you questioning the competency of blacks to matter? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like, which goes back into the romanticism of the South and all the Civil War. How the Lost Cause was part that one of the tenets of the Lost Cause was that the slaves were happy and that this was better for the slaves. Mm-hmm. So if you're saying Black lives don't matter, you're saying, yeah, you guys aren't smart enough to matter.
Right. Yeah.
The only way you're going to matter is if we oversee you.
You're just not as important.
Yeah, exactly.
You're probably on the list right under straws being bad for our environment.
You haven't earned the right to matter.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about the origin of the word Jim Crow before we go into kind of the concept of de jure and de facto.
And I'll be honest, this is something I didn't
Jump
know.
Jim Crow was an old song and dance routine that originated in 1828, which was written by a white comedian by the name of T.D. Daddy Rice, who would perform in blackface, basically to make fun of slaves.
Wheel about and turn about and do just so. Every time I wheel about, I jump Jim Crow.
The term
Jim Crow. That was so awful. It was just so, oh my gosh, in your face, mean and.
Exactly. So even the comedy of that day, everything about that day was to dehumanize and just
Oh yeah.
to strip away intelligence.
Yep.
To strip away anything that resembled humanity.
It's like it's no different than if he would have dressed up like a dog and act like a dog. He's making fun of something that doesn't matter to him.
No, I think it would have been. I still think it's worse, because he would have did all kinds of things of that, like that dog. But because it was a human acting like that dog, you still would have got the sense that, oh look, that dog can laugh, that dog can jump. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he would have, oh look, how he's throwing up his leg. You know what I'm saying? You still would have appreciated the interpretation. He would have struggled to try to dress up like a dog and play a dumb dog. You feel me? But to play a black person, it was easy to just throw that shit on your face, put on some shitty slave clothes, and act like a monkey, and people were like, ha ha ha, see, they are stupid. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was easy. The only time you played that was when you was playing something dumb. You know what I mean? Like there was no Lassie movie for the slave. You know, oh boy, what are you trying to say? Yeah, massa, there's Timmy fell down a lake, massa. No, that was reserved for Lassie. Oh, Timmy fell down a lake, boy. Let's go get him. Ruff, ruff, let's go. You know what I'm saying? They never played a dumb dog. You know what I'm saying? All the dogs, Scooby's probably the least intelligent, but even he gets the job done.
Yeah, he does. You can't hate on him for
But
that.
the slaves, whenever they played the slaves, they never played a slave that was like, yeah, man, I'm the man. I'm the best slave, coolest slave on the plantation. Everybody was smashing me, even the master's daughter. Nah, it
There's
was
no super slave out there or anything.
it was always the dumb, ignorant Neanderthals, black Neanderthals, Blackathalls.
Like I can't even make comment. Yeah, because
What were you gonna say?
nothing. All those jokes you got.
You don't feel like you can say Blackathal? Can you laugh at it? Do you feel like? Or do you
I
feel
think
like
I can laugh at it in this context here.
I don't
but
wanna
I-
make you feel uncomfortable.
You're not making me feel uncomfortable, but yeah, they're not the jokes I would spit out.
No,
But you can.
no, but then again, like,
I wouldn't. They wouldn't even come out right.
no,
You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say. I would hear you think of you saying Blackathals.
Like that would sound really bad if I said it. Think about it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
term Jim itself is short for Jimmy, like I'm going to Jimmy a lock, and that was a crowbar. So a crowbar in the 1800s was sometimes called a Jim or a Jimmy. And then, of course, crow itself was used as a term for blacks as early as the 1700s. In terms of jump Jim Crow, farmers used to feed their crows corn-soaked whiskey. Then the crows would get drunk and kind of dance around, not being able to fly as the farmers, kind of beat the crows to death.
That's so
there's
mean.
multiple meanings behind the term Jim Crow. They all refer in a negative connotation to slaves and to freedmen, to blacks. And now we're going to turn that term Jim Crow into a system of racial oppression.
White people are very creative in their hate.
Say what?
White people are very creative in their hate. Jim Crow.
I'm sure they appreciate the compliment. Yeah, I guess.
I hope so. It was pretty backhanded.
Yeah, they are very creative. They are very creative. And Martin Luther King said that he feels that one of his last speeches, he says that he feels like the other side has used their time more productively. You know what I mean? Coming up with the laws and the ways in which they were going to box a motherfucker in and keep him down. Like the thought process and the time that has to go into this
Yeah.
shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like these are like imagine how many, we know how much taxpayers dollar go into them just having a meeting or two now.
Exactly. And the effort that goes into
Yeah,
it.
and usually they just come out of, we got a bill for some, extra diapers,
No, that's a job. Like,
but no, my point is we know how much money is wasted in lawmaking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All their time is billed. All their whatever is billed. This, that, and the other is billed. You know what I'm saying? So how many days did they spend getting together just so they could talk about how to keep niggas down? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So how many days did payers had to pay for lunch? And they had to have these meetings with local businesses and things like that. So how much like money was just spent on the time required to come up with all this junk to do this?
Yeah, there's a big production behind that curtain.
Still had those southern governments that were being controlled by kind of Confederate forces. So those southern white Democratic dominated legislatures would pass something called black codes right after the Civil War that severely limited the rights of these new freedmen. And most of these black codes were based on vagrancy laws, where if you were black, you had to prove that you had a job and that job was recognized by whites. And if you couldn't do that, you would be forced into labor. You could be put in prison and then kind of leased out to people in order to do jobs. So many historians have called black codes slavery by another name. But that's going to change during Reconstruction because starting in 1867, the Republican-dominated Congress.
So just to stop it there a little bit, basically, right after the Civil Wars, like we touched on in other episodes, all right, everybody. See, what the thing is, people have to understand is that even though they went to war, it wasn't like Lincoln in the beginning really was like, yeah, slaves are my thing. He was like, yeah, slaves are the thing. He if he had to choose, I guess he would be like, you know what, I wouldn't. I would prefer, that some slaves be let out, but ultimately he went to war to save the Union.
Mm-hmm.
The South went to war for slavery.
Exactly.
The Union said, look, slavery got to stop. South said, we want to succeed.
Yep.
Union said, no, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do. At that point, Lincoln said, hey, if I could have, saved the Union and freed all the slaves, I would have.
Right.
If I could have saved the Union and freed some of the slaves, I would have. If I could have saved the Union and freed none of the slaves, I would have. And that was in a response to, I guess, a question or a debate question or something along those lines. But in the end, he says freeing the slaves was the right thing to do for the Union.
Right.
It would make the Union stronger. But ultimately, it was just about, look, the Union is saved. Can you guys just go the fuck home?
Yeah.
and agree to never do this again.
No, it's getting old.
Yeah. In the end, the South did strike first. This whole Northern aggression bullshit.
Come on.
They took over bases. They took over all kinds of shit in the
sneaky as fuck
in the South before the Civil War actually started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were sneaky as fuck. So anyway, so after they went home, it's like, yeah, they was like, okay, we got our asses kicked, but we're gonna show you niggas. So imagine you just been freed and you have to get a job. Otherwise, if you're found without a job that some white person says, yeah, this is a real job, you're going to basically be thrown back into slavery. Who's gonna give a slave a job? You mean I gotta pay this guy now?
Exactly.
No. Hold up. Let me just wait until he gets thrown into slavery, and then I just
And
get
then
him
I
at a
get it for
discount.
free. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, buy him used.
Yeah, you're not gonna give him for free. Now it's state organized slavery.
Yeah.
You gotta pay taxes for that.
Yep. But you're gonna get him at a discount rate, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Is going to basically mandate through the enforcement of the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment, the military occupation of the South. This is the period of history from basically 1867 to 1877, about a decade, called Reconstruction.
Now, what this Reconstruction thing was basically, the Union kind of had an idea what was going on. And so they sent in basically the military to kind of sort of occupy the South.
Mm-hmm.
And to ensure that you know, the slaves were freed and things like that, which is another reason why it probably took as long as it did. You know what I'm saying? And even then, local governments were still fighting it.
Yeah.
You know, trying to fight it in courts and stall and things like that. And it wasn't like from my understanding, it wasn't like it was a super military occupation. I think there was, from my understanding, it was like less than 20,000 troops spread out throughout the South.
Oh.
But their job was, to stop lynchings and stop all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Just like try to bring back some unionized order to the country. So that's another thing that played into the lost cause. When they write about this period, they write about it as they were oppressed people. You know, like
Woe is me.
yeah, like the northern troops were down here just causing mayhem and plundering and looting and just all kinds of shit. And it was like,
And they had to clean themselves back up
Yeah.
and be strong.
and yeah, exactly. And yeah, it was just like if the Northerners would just leave us alone to our way of life, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, things like that. And it was none of that. So
Playing victim.
another part of the lost cause, they try to act like the Northern troops, none of them gave a fuck about slavery, and the Southern troops didn't give a fuck about slavery. And that's not true either. As the war goes on, the Northerners begin to, in their diaries, begin to start noting that yeah, because basically what happens is as these slaves are like running away or escaping because of the war, they like following behind the Northern troops. And so they're getting to kind of like see these slaves and see what happened to them as they liberate them. So after a while, they started taking on that mission. Ultimately, you take on the mission of your commanders.
Right.
So in the end, South was fighting for slavery, North was fighting for fucking the end of shit. It was in both their charters.
Yeah.
And during Reconstruction, the black codes were eliminated, and for the most part, African Americans were allowed to vote. And you did have African Americans that were elected to high office. You had governors, there was a African American senator, there were African American state legislators. So it was kind of working, but of course, it's all being held together by military occupation. And then there was an incident in Louisiana in 1873 called the Colfax Massacre. And this is really kind of the Southern Democratic forces trying to coalesce around groups in order to take back what they see as their rightful place as leaders of these Southern governments. And in Louisiana, at the Colfax Massacre in 1873, there was a group called the White League. And this White League, unlike the Klan, which was kind of a terrorist under the ground organization, the White Leagues and the Red Shirts, groups throughout the South, were open about their, opposition to African American rights and their wanting of power. So at Colfax, this White League basically attacked a courthouse that was being held by Republican forces. And we basically have a mini civil war at Colfax. We ended up having about 150 African Americans that were murdered, maybe more. We're not really sure about mass graves and people that were thrown into the river and such. But that culminated in a federal trial with the conviction of some of those people who did that based on the 1870 Enforcement Act saying.
Wow. There's like so much in that, man.
That was, yeah, man.
But the gist is that in the South at this time, people, they still won't just let it go. They still won't just let it go. Now you got groups forming, some covertly, some overtly, all opposing this shit. This is the one where they said 150 Negroes killed 3
Yeah.
white men. 3 white men. So it sounds
That
like they just went. Yeah,
ratio
it sounds like
is-
they just went there to kill black people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They upset that black people are being elected to office, that black people are owning businesses, that black people are doing this and black people are doing that. Every time that something has started, there's always been something to kick off that destroys it.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and when you destroy these, you can't just come into a neighborhood and kill 150 people in that neighborhood and then expect for that neighborhood to still flourish.
Exactly.
Name any neighborhood.
You can't burn that neighborhood down.
Name any neighborhood where people. No, you can burn it down. You can burn it down. Fuck all that. You can burn it down. Those people can just build it back up. They can use those same bricks that are sitting there smoldering to build up a new neighborhood. They probably build it better. You know why they can do it? Because they're still alive. But go into a neighborhood, don't touch any of the buildings, and just kill all the people. What's going to happen to that neighborhood the next day? Are you going to see the garbage get picked up? Anybody going to go to the corner bodega, buy a hero and some CCs? No, they're all dead. Anybody that's left is going to be those households, those families are destroyed. Now, imagine if you do both. You go into any neighborhood, you burn it down, and you kill 150 niggas in that neighborhood. How is that neighborhood, how many decades, how many generations is it going to take for that neighborhood, that community, to get back on its feet? You feel me? How many generations does it take for that neighborhood to get the guile and the confidence and the courage to get back on their feet? They just had 150 of their people slaughtered, everything they known destroyed, and they told to get back in their place.
It's a lot of hate right there.
And this is before the laws. This is doing the black codes, bro. No, actually, no, this is doing Reconstruction. There's military occupation. They still was like, fuck that. So, the Civil War is about slavery. The aftermath is about getting it back. You can't get it back. You can't, unless you're willing to go back to war with the U.S. government. You can't get slavery back. Slavery is done.
Yeah.
You can't. You can get them and you can beat them up and you can do whatever you want, but you can't make them a slave anymore.
Nope.
That is done. That's the reason why they just kill them. You know what I'm saying? There's no need to lynch people and kill people and treat people like that just because you can't have them as a slave. That's why you're doing it. If I can't have you, no one will. Is that where we at now? So that's what I'm saying. Here we're just, the people that are here are some of the same people that fought and led regiments in the Civil War. Obviously, they didn't change their mind.
Right.
So this is just 1870. You know what I mean? Just 140 years from where we're at now. So, boom.
Saying that Congress is going to have the ability to prosecute people that are violating the rights of freedmen. In 1876, the Supreme Court comes out with a decision called United States versus Cruikshank, where they basically kind of take the teeth out of the Enforcement Act by saying that because this White League was not a government group but a private organization, the Enforcement Act didn't hold, that private groups could discriminate. You had to get them a different way. You probably had to use state and local courts, which weren't going to work back then. So
basically in 1870, they had an act where it was like, look, enough. You guys got to stop this discrimination and all this bullshit. But they were still doing it. They were still doing it. You can pass any laws you want. But unless you're willing to lock motherfuckers up,
Right.
people are going to do what they want.
Yep.
So eventually they had a case, Cruikshank. And that went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court basically said, look, the Enforcement Act only applies to the government. You know what I mean? So let's apply that to now. Right now, yeah. Right now, businesses can't discriminate over sexual orientation, race, and things. There are things on the books that say they can't.
Right.
But let's just say they could. Well, right now they could. Well, we have social media right now, and we just won't buy your Aunt your mama, syrup.
Right.
I don't like it anymore. It sounds racist. I don't want to buy your Aunt your mama syrup anymore. It's my right to not fucking do it. You know what I'm saying? Well, but back then they didn't have that. Back then, also, right now, if Black Lives Matter was actually discriminative, enforced on people's civil rights, the government can't do anything about it. They have to do it a different way. Now, frankly, that sounds broad as hell, because I still don't see how people can, I guess that had to do prior to nah, niggas can't come in my store and stuff like that,
Right.
I don't know if that had anything to do with lynching a dude, because that's a crime. For that, they just give them an all-white jury. You know what I'm saying? They get off. So, so I think I got a little twisted around on that. But yeah, it is right now, a private organization, we can just not fucking fuck with them. You know what I'm saying? Not buy it. We can boycott their stuff, not, go to games or whatever if we feel like the NFL is racist. But back in the day, the NFL could have been as racist as they wanted to be, and the Enforcement Act couldn't stop it one way or the other. Only it was for the government. Although at that point, even then, there was no way to. The government was just finding other ways to be discriminatory.
Discriminatory.
Yeah. Discriminative. Why does that word sound weird?
But it's discriminative. Yeah, no, that's right.
So that's kind of a breakdown of federal control over, the Southern governments and the rise of what's going to become Jim Crow. And then really it all falls apart in the election of 1876. You can watch, there's a video on the Compromise of 1877. You can click down in the description below to watch that. But basically there is a deal in the presidential election where the Southern Democrats kind of give their votes to the Republicans in Rutherford beat Hayes. Samuel Tilden, the Democrat, lost, even though he was from New York. That's another story. But the sticking point, the compromise, the sellout is going to be the end of military occupation in the South by Reconstruction forces, that they're going to be able to own their governments again. And this is really the beginning of the birth of Jim Crow and segregation de jure down South. So let's take a look at some of the specifics of what Jim Crow laws we're talking about.
So yeah, basically, and that's another thing about knowing your history. Everybody who's Republican right now, you're basically championing what the racist Democrats were championing back in those days. You get what I'm saying? All they did was just, and that's why they're saying there's just one party. Because in a sense, yeah, they just flipped.
Yes.
They still kept the same shit that they felt since the beginning.
Except
they just flipped.
Yeah.
Flip colors.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
That's it. So everybody that's being sold on this bullshit right now, you're just being sold on something that was flipped.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, it's all about what do you care about. It's not about what party you're in. It's about
Right.
what you care about. So if you care about symbols and white supremacy and greed, then cool. But the thing you got to understand is that the Republicans, while they flipped the social issues, they kept the business bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They got rid of the other bullshit.
Yeah, they kept what they got rid of, they screen small government, but it's really small government, mad control, and so big government when it comes to social issues.
Right.
So yeah, that's what it's called. Before it was the Southern strategy, then it became the culture war, and now I don't know what it is now. Now it's a Trump. Whatever.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it was the anti-Obama, and the Trump just came out of that. You know what I'm saying?
The anti-Obama.
And how they're going to affect freedmen, African Americans in the South as they seek to claim the mantle of the American dream. Congress wasn't done in the 1870s. They passed something called the Civil Rights Act of 1875, which was
1875.
basically kind of a reclaim
It's a
to
good
the
year.
14th Amendment in
Sounds
terms
like
of
a good
public
year.
accommodations, that there would be no segregation in places of public accommodations like restaurants and hotels and trains and all of that kind of jazz. But that's going to be torn apart in 1896 with Plessy versus Ferguson. Now, Plessy versus Ferguson isn't based on schools, even though Brown versus Board of Ed is going to overturn it. It's really based on the concept of segregation by legislation. And in
Yeah.
Louisiana, it was always illegal for blacks and whites to ride on the same car. But the Separate Car Act of Louisiana kind of added coloreds to the mix. They had a classification for mixed races. And if you were 1/8 of African ancestry, you were considered colored and you couldn't ride on the train. So this was an organized effort
my
by
gosh.
the black and colored community.
Yo, they put so much thought into that shit.
Yes.
But what if?
And they broke it down to a
Cause
fraction.
I tell you, sir, my daddy used to have a liking for the Negro, and he been known to go down to the quarters and let's just say do ungodly things. My God, he was such a righteous man. God rest his soul. But nonetheless, a few of them primates
Oh my gosh.
have a little bit of his blood in them. I couldn't bear myself to, exterminate those rodents. So what do we do in situations like that? Because I just can't bear to sit beside them on no damn train. Well, why don't we just say, yo, if they got half. But my granddaddy used to go down to all right, a quarter. Well, my great daddy was known to go down to the slave quarters too.
They're down to an 8.
Damn. Anybody in your family not like fucking them? How about you? Are you fucking them? I'd rather not say.
I plead the fifth.
A gentleman never tells. I said a southern gentleman.
Oh man.
Like, yo, if they would have kept their dicks out of fucking slaves that they seem to hate so much, that 1/8 bullshit would have not even been necessary. Like, you created that problem.
Right?
You like what? How many Africans came over this motherfucker with 7/8 white blood in them? None.
Yeah, like
Because think about that. If you had 1/8 in you, you were considered black. So that 1/8 was more valuable to you than, because it determined what you were. So to you, it was the most valuable thing you got. Was more valuable than that fucking 7/8 of white blood that you
yeah.
had. Like, the fuck is this going on? What you guys think, y'all vampires? The fuck is going on?
And that 1/8 determined on whether you was walking or not.
Yeah, whether you was on the back of the train, whether you was lynchable or not. What, 1/8 of anything? Like, imagine if yo, bro, I saw you fucking, you got $800 in your pocket. You know what I mean? And you got a fucking $700 bills, a 50, fucking 220s, you know what I mean? A 10, a 5, and then 5 ones.
Oh my gosh.
But just because you got 5 ones, they're saying, nah, you don't got $800. You just got
They
$5.
don't even exist.
Yeah, you just got $5. Like, come on, bro.
That's crazy.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, I don't know.
That's crazy though.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, once again, it was a situation they created. So since they created it, so you still get to have your cake and you get to eat it and beat it too.
To fight this new law. And Homer Plessy, who was 1/8 black, he was very of light complexion, kind of walked onto the train one day, and he had to announce to the steward of the train his racial heritage because nobody could tell just by looking at him. Then he proceeded to sit down and get arrested, kind of in the spirit of Rosa Parks, which launched the court case Plessy.
My
versus
name is
Ferguson,
Harold
where the
Plessy.
court is going
I
to
am
end
1/8
up saying
black.
separate
Can you
is
imagine that
equal.
scene on
That
the bus?
segregational laws are constitutional.
I'm surprised he didn't
because
get
they're
fucked
still
up, get
giving
choked out.
African Americans a seat at the table. It's just a separate table, and it's an equal table. And of course, we all know that not to be true.
So yeah, so that inserted the whole separate but equal situation, which even to today still resonates. You know what I mean?
It sure does.
Even down to for people to say racism is dead in this country.
No. It's,
When did it die? Because separate but equal was still technically even alive during the crack cocaine epidemic. You know what I'm saying? Like cocaine over here in these communities were treated separately than crack in these communities, although it's the same bullshit. So that's the 80s.
mm-hmm.
You feel me? I'm up doing break dancing and dancing
Hell
and
yeah.
shit. You know what I mean?
We grew
Like
up in the 80s.
yeah, depending on where in the 80s, I might even be, checking out a few shorties. You know what I mean? Beginning of the 80s, not so much. End of the 80s. Know what I mean? Shit. So, I don't know, man. Like, right?
Hell yeah. That wasn't that long ago, man.
Like, I don't know. Like, what do you think of all this stuff so far? You have any opinions on this stuff? I know I get on my little rantsy rants, but
I learn a lot from seeing you do your research on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like I always say, you're so much smarter than me because you're able to get this. And there are sometimes you have a way of breaking it down for me. Again, it's all very new to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really thrown back by a lot of it, a lot of the history involved in it. The fact that we're not that far removed from a lot of these change of laws, and the 1800s alone was a big era as far as changes. I mean, we're in the 1960s even. We're not that far removed from making law changes just because of race. I'm glad that I have the rights that I do now, and without all of those movements, I wouldn't have them. I'm glad that we're past it, but the whole racism is dead thing. Racism hasn't existed till now. That's ignorance to me. Like you had pointed out earlier, we have 60, 70-year-olds that have been through all of that are still alive, which means that racism did not die.
Yeah, they are alive. They got to, like I said, they got to enjoy separate but equal.
Absolutely, and it's part of their nurturing as well when it comes to nurturing their own family.
Like take the violence out of it all. Let's say none of that violence happened. They still got to enjoy the system which propped them up and shot the other person down. Once again, it's like there was this video of these kids. They were doing a race and they wanted to show white privilege. And I think some of the things that they talked on that they did kind of hit the message, missed the point. Mm-hmm. Like if you only had one parent, if you only had this, that, and the other, if you only had, take two steps back. And before the race started, it was like the white people were like way up here, and yeah, but it is the same situation.
Yeah.
And even as an immigrant, if you come here, depending on your complexion, when you come here, things could be a little different.
That's very true. That is very true.
And even then, there is no system in place to keep you in a place. That's why people get upset with immigrants. Because the immigrants are new.
Yeah.
They don't know any better. They haven't assimilated, but they still are achieving and they having access to the American dream.
Yeah.
The same motherfuckers that are bitching about Black Lives Matter, trying to keep us down, are the same motherfuckers that turn to an immigrant and be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's why, if you're an immigrant, regardless of what complexion you are, you should be a little wary of that situation.
Absolutely.
So now, you know, and not to even go too further into the Jim Crow stuff, because, you know, I got a feeling that we're going to touch these things on other situations.
It's not the last time.
I wanted to play a little bit of this video, of this speech. It's Malcolm X, his famous the House Negro and the Field Negro speech. Have you ever heard it?
Not the speech, no.
Okay. Have you heard?
I've heard a song. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it. Yeah, what song?
I'm just kidding. I saw the movie.
You saw the movie House Nigga and Film, whatever? Sometimes you just don't want to say nah. You're like, nah, not the speech. I'm like, oh. Please do tell. What did you tell the audience? What did you see?
Saw the movie.
On HBO Max. Get it while you can, because they cutting shit.
Saw it on Quibi.
Anyway, so yeah. But the reason why I want to play this, I want to touch a little bit on, he's not talking about black on black crime, but he is talking about black on black hate. He is talking about, you know what? You rock and roll, Malcolm.
Cool.
To understand this, you have to go back to what young brother here referred to as the house Negro and the field Negro, back during slavery. There was two kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would.
Yeah.
The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro say, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master.
We found Sprizzy.
Damn it. Fucking Sprizzy bullshit.
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff.
Identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, that house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today, because we still got some house niggers running around here. This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, I'm the only Negro out here.
Oh man.
I'm the only one on my job. I'm the only one in this school. You're nothing but a house Negro. And if someone come to you right now and say, let's separate, you say the same thing that the house Negro said on the plantation. What you mean separate? From America? This good white man? Where you gonna get a better job than you get here? I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you say, while you left your mind in Africa.
Now, I think he gave the speech before he actually went to Mecca, and which is what I'm going to play a little bit after he gets to the point that I want him to make. When he comes back from Africa, his perspective is a little different, actually, which is one of the things I want to point out now before we start going further, because there is an evolution. Mm-hmm. And the way I feel is that the plantation is just gotten bigger. Plantation is under all of us right now, and it's just a matter of where's your station on the plantation. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we all niggas. No, we don't all get to be niggas. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, some are the niggas, some are the Negroes, some are the overseers, some are the lookouts, some are the, you know what I'm saying, the help.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you're in the middle class, your job basically is to look over the poor class, you know, the lower class. Like,
right.
Like, if you're not wealthy, then you're in the same boat. You know what I'm saying? Like right. you get everybody who says, yeah, I come here for opportunity and this, that, and the other. And this. Well, I don't know how it was where you were. Where you were. Maybe there were gangsters trying to kill you and stuff like that. Well, that shit happens here too. If you was in Europe, you probably left a place where you could have gotten a fucking month off. You came to a place where you get a week off.
Yeah.
It's customary to get a week off here. Like that's crazy. Just think about that. And some jobs don't even give you the weekend off. You know what I mean? So for some people, they only get 56 plus an additional 6 or 7 days off. So for some people, out of a 356 day year, they only getting like 60, 70 days off. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. In total, and that includes weekend days, holidays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so the majority of your life is spent working for someone that you would never ever achieve in terms of their where they're at in life.
Right.
Because the harder you work, the better they get.
Yep.
So yeah, where they put their money, where they stand in life is kind of important. It's important because, you know, if you're going to be dedicating your life to giving them the ability to influence other people's lives through their money, mm-hmm. then it should matter to you. You know what I mean? Oh, I just want to go to work. I don't want to go. All right, cool. Then go to work. See you when you get home and you sitting in your little blow up pool while the company you working for, this dude's taking a helicopter. I think he's never even been to the store that you work at. All these people that shut the fuck up and sat there like Walmart support, you know, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Walmart probably never even been to their store.
Mm-hmm. Of course not.
Yeah, much less their section that they work in.
Yeah.
He'll shut that shit down in a heartbeat.
So quick. So quick.
House Negro. But yet you voting for the other man.
On that same plantation, there was the field Negro. The field Negro, those were the masses. There was always more Negroes in the field than there was Negroes in the house. The Negro in the field caught hell. He ate leftovers. In the house, they ate high up on the hog. The Negro in the field didn't get nothing but what was left of the insides of the hog. They call them chitlins nowadays. In those days, they call them what they were, guts. That's what you were, a gut eater.
A gut eater.
And some of you all still gut eaters.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they eat them in big chunks.
The field Negro was beaten from morning till night. He lived in a shack, in a hut. He wore cast-off clothes. And he hated his master. I say he hated his master. He was intelligent. That house Negro loved his master. But that field Negro, remember, they were in the majority. And they hated the master. When the house caught on fire, he didn't try and put it out. That field Negro prayed for a wind, for a breeze. When the master got sick, the field Negro prayed that he died. If someone come to the field Negro and said, let's separate, let's run, he didn't say, where are we going? He said, any place is better than here. You got field Negroes in America today. I'm a field Negro. The masses are the field Negroes. When they see this man's house on fire, you don't hear these little Negroes talking about our government is in trouble. They say the government is in trouble.
So yeah, I mean, and those were some of the tactics that were used to pit people who had the same interests, just different station, against each other. The field Negro had the same interest as the house Negro. Whatever happened to the field Negro could happen to the house Negro.
Mm-hmm.
As it could. In fact, the house Negro probably even had their own sets of things that they had, of dangers and pitfalls that they had to look for because they were in the house.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Being the daughter of the house Negro probably wasn't a good thing to be. You know what I mean? You know, so yeah, so we are in this together. So regardless of where your station is on the plantation, if you ain't the master, then we all in this together.
Yep.
We are all in this together. And we need our allies, as many as we can get. I mean, in some ways, it's like, I mean, if you think about it, like those days on the plantation, if the slaves worked every day, which I think they did, maybe got off a little bit on Sunday, I don't know. Well, there was somebody that was in charge of overseeing them. I don't think that guy got paid that much money.
Probably not.
Probably not. Otherwise, he would have his own plantation if he got paid so much money.
He'd be in his own boss.
Why didn't he get... His job is to beat the shit out of slaves and oversee them and chase them down and hunt them down. But he's not getting paid enough. Yeah. If cops' jobs are so dangerous, why don't they pay cops more than they pay anything else? So that a cop don't even have... An NFL player only has to be an NFL player for 5 years, and then they probably made, if they're smart, made enough money. Some of them make enough money in the first 3 years to retire.
Yeah. Yep.
To retire. Whereas cops, you got to be a cop for fucking 40 years. To the point where you get tired of being a cop.
And you would think high risk, high pay, right?
High risk, high pay. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like, I don't think cops get like everything else given to them. Like someone in the military does.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Although I don't know for sure, but they definitely not getting paid super duper. So the people that were closest to the slaves, they didn't get paid super duper either. And there's a reason for that. But those people have to ask themselves. You know what I'm saying? And something tells me you have to be very skilled to be an overseer for the slaves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You had to know how to track a motherfucker.
Yep.
You got to be good with the whip, the shotgun. You got to take this motherfucker's bullshit and listen to his bullshit.
You gotta know instinct.
Yeah, you got to know instinct. You know what I'm saying? You got to play bad cop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there has to be a reason why they're keeping them down. So if you're just an average everyday worker, just because your skin doesn't get you slammed on the pavement, you still have to wonder, like, damn, like, am I just an overseer to ensure that
everybody stays in line?
Yeah, I'm holding a place so that this guy doesn't get somewhere, so that he can get beyond being slammed on the ground.
Yep.
There can only be but so many LeBrons.
Yep.
So because there can only be so many LeBrons, that means there can only be so many Bill Gates. You feel me?
Right.
So basically the same gatekeepers that keeping me from getting through are keeping you from getting through. You know what I'm saying? And the sooner we realize that, then we don't have to hate each other. You know what I'm saying?
Work together.
And then we can kill our real masters. You know what I'm saying? Like, even now, you have people complaining and bitching and this, that, and the other. And it's like, no, you got to find out, like, what's keeping you down. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to take that master out. Killer Mike had a great shirt. Says kill your masters. And it wasn't meaning, like, go find some white people and shoot them up.
Yeah.
No, it was whatever is oppressing you. You know what I'm saying? And most likely it's probably within you in this day and age.
You have to tackle that.
You know what I'm saying? You got to tackle that. So this next clip is Malcolm X. It's called the By Any Means Necessary speech. I freaking love it. But I don't know if in this one he had just came back from Mecca, but he has a different tone. I do have one when he just came back from Mecca, like he just got off the plane.
And just made a speech?
Well, the reporters are asking him questions, so it's not necessarily a speech, it's just him kind of like answering the questions. But it's still a dope city, though.
Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies. Everybody is here. As many of you know, last March, when it was announced that I was no longer in the Black Muslim movement, it was pointed out that it was my intention to work among the 22 million non-Muslim Afro-Americans and to try and form some type of organization or create a situation where the young people, our young people, the students and others, could study the problems of our people for a period of time and then come up with a new analysis and give us some new ideas and some new suggestions as to how to approach a problem that too many other people had been playing around with for too long. And that we would have some kind of meeting and determine at a later date whether to form a black nationalist party or a black nationalist army.
So just to cap a little bit, right now he's out of, I guess, the Nation of Islam at this point. He fell into a disagreement with the way that the leader, he saw that he just didn't like the way he was living. I think the way he was messing around with women and young girls was playing into that, which just goes to show, like, look, don't let this pedophile, but you're going to be hearing that word a lot. I know I've thrown it out earlier in this episode.
Yep,
but
you started off with it.
And I'm going to keep, like, no, we are not going to allow motherfuckers to equate pedophilia to Black Lives Matter. No.
Yeah, cannot.
We're not going to
Cannot be
allow
tied.
people equate pedophilia to racism.
That's right.
Frankly, in my opinion, I would wager most pedophilias are racist.
I wouldn't bet
Yeah.
against you.
But so if we can kill two with one stone, great. But they're not the same.
Right.
They're not the same. They're not the same enemy. No. Nope. If anybody, there's all these pedophiles out here. Y'all worried about racist syrup? No. We worried. We worried about. We worried about people using this racist syrup to give to little black kids that they're gonna molest. we worried about the fact that Black lives don't matter, and you guys are changing this subject. So it's that situation. I don't really have anything funny to say about it other than it's serious, and that I just can't allow that.
No, man.
Can't allow two separate conversations, and frankly, anybody on that side, look, cut it out. You guys don't care about pedophilia. You just don't. There's been too many election cycles where you had ample opportunity to say something about pedophilia and
Right.
you didn't. And
right.
Just cut it out. Cut it the fuck out. Well, how is it?
Cut it out.
You gotta do that when we go out to break.
I will.
There have been many of our people across the country from all walks of life who have taken it upon themselves to try and pool their ideas and to come up with some kind of solution to the problem that confronts all of our people. And tonight we are here to try and get an understanding of what it is they've come up with. Also, recently, when I was blessed to make a trip or a pilgrimage, a religious pilgrimage
So
to
he
the
did come
holy
to
city
Mecca.
of Mecca, where I met many people from all over the world, plus spent many weeks in Africa, trying to broaden my own scope and get more of an open mind to look at the problem as it actually is. One of the things that I realized, and I realized this even before going over there, was that our African brothers have gained their independence faster than you and I here in America have. They've also gained recognition and respect as human beings much faster than you and I. Just 10 years ago on the African continent, our people were colonized. They were suffering all forms of colonization, oppression, exploitation, degradation, humiliation, discrimination, and every other kind of Asian. And in a short time, they have gained more independence, more recognition, more respect as human beings than you and I have. And you and I live in a country which is supposed to be the citadel of education, freedom, justice, democracy, and all of those other pretty sounding words.
So basically what he's talking about there is that he went to Mecca and, he checked it out. He's like, look, we were all on similar paths. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people were colonized. These people had to fight for their independence and their rights. And, if it was a race, they're light years ahead of us. You know what I'm saying? What did they do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What were some of their ideas? What were some of their thought processes? So what basically going over there made him question some of his thought process. If you notice in the previous recording, he's a lot more militant. He's a lot more angry. You know what I'm saying? By then, at that point, he was the, hey, they got guns, we got guns too. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Martin Luther King, he's a fool. You know what I'm saying? He's been bought and paid for by these people. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, he'd be like, yo, let's do the guns. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And whereas now he's like, no, I've gone out. I've talked to people. I've listened to people. You know what I'm saying? And, there is another way. And hopefully he's about to go into it.
So it was our intention to try and find out what was our African brothers doing to get results so that you and I could study what they had done and perhaps gain from that study or benefit from their experiences. And my traveling over there was designed to help to find out how. One of the first things that the independent African nations did was to form an organization called the Organization of African Unity. The purpose of our organization of Afro-American Unity, which has the same aim and objective, to fight whoever gets in our way. To bring about the complete independence of people of African descent here in the Western Hemisphere, and first here in the United States, and bring about the freedom of these people by any means necessary. That's our motto. The purpose of our organization is to start right here in Harlem, which has the largest concentration of people of African descent that exists anywhere on this earth. There are more Africans here in Harlem than exist in any city on the African continent, because that's what you and I are, Africans.
You know my feelings on that.
Yes, I do.
And, you know, old Malcolm X would have been like, you left your mind in Africa.
Uh-huh.
I would have been like, well, when you go back there and get my mind, tell me what it looks like, because I don't remember what it fucking looked like. I never been there.
You said that for a long time.
I don't know how I could have left my mind there if I've never been there.
Yeah, you said that for a long time now.
You know, and you know, there's a reason why there are flowers that grow here, and then there are flowers that grow on the other side of the fucking planet.
Yeah.
And the one that was planted here and grew here, seeded here and grew here, it doesn't. It's not gonna feel like it left its roots in fucking Australia in the outback.
Because it started them here.
Yeah. Cherry blossoms don't feel like they left their mind in Japan. No.
They're Japanese American blossoms.
Yeah, they just fucking grow. They grow and they blossom. Right. So I'm here to grow. I'm here to blossom. But I do need to know. I do need to know some of the stuff. I need to be open to know how to maneuver in this world, in this room full of vultures, you know?
Yeah.
Just gotta.
The Charter of the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Constitution of the United States, and the Bill of Rights are the principles in which we believe, and that these documents, if put into practice, represent the essence of mankind's hopes and good intentions, desirous that all Afro-American people and organizations should henceforth unite so that the welfare and well-being of our people will be assured. We are resolved to reinforce the common bond of purpose between our people by submerging all of our differences and establishing non-sectarian constructive programs for human rights. We hereby present this charter. Number one, the establishment. The Organization of Afro-American Unity shall include all people of African descent in the Western Hemisphere. In essence, what it is saying, instead of you and me running around here seeking allies in our struggle for freedom, in the Irish neighborhood or the Jewish neighborhood or the Italian neighborhood, we need to seek some allies among people who look something like we do. And once we get their allies, it's time out for you and me to stop running away from the wolf right into the arms of the fox, looking for some kind of help. That's a drag. Number two, self-defense. Since self-preservation is the first law of nature,
yep,
we assert the Afro-American's right to self-defense.
And that's what goes into what we were saying on shit. I don't even remember the episode number anymore. But yeah, it's time to respect the Second Amendment. Time to appreciate it. Time to live it. It's like, yo, if you do, then hopefully that bleeds into the community. Now, granted, it's a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my people aren't licensed to have guns. Shit, I don't even know how they even feel about guns in the community. Down here, I think it's a little different.
Yes,
but
definitely.
up north, not so much. I don't know how to work it out, but I think, we have to start incorporating that into our lives a lot more. And maybe just Americans in general. They're not going anywhere, so let's start, normals, making it normal.
Yep.
It's right now it's abnormal for to see a black person really, really like, yeah, I got these guns and and that there's just something wrong with that. I should be
It's just like the white guys in the back of the pickup truck. You should be able to carry your gun.
Yeah.
And display it without being in fear of being shot down.
And chase a motherfucker down and beat him
up.
All right, so this here is the last one, actually. This one is the last sermon of Dr. King. I'm not going to play all of it, but there's a good little stretch here where he basically kind of ties it all into us. And the point of all this was, here we are in the 60s, bro. In the 60s, and they're fighting for this shit. In the 60s, they're getting fucking smashed by cops. Malcolm X was in the North. Dr. King was in the South. So there we have it. We showed a bit of Jim Crow. We showed a bit of the things that they were screaming for in the North.
Right.
Dr. King's going to talk about what they were screaming for in the South. We showed that 60 years ago, people were still, the things that were happening to them happened 2 months ago to their children. The children of the people who sprayed motherfuckers with water hoses and sick dogs on them are the ones that sprayed them with tear gas.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And those children that sprayed them with water hoses are the children of the people who lynched them. And then they are the children of the people who enslaved them. So there's no way that it can be over. It couldn't have been dead a long time ago.
Right.
And then recreated by Black Lives Matter. I don't even know if Martin Luther King was down with Black Lives Matter, if it even existed back then. I'm going to assume it didn't.
Sure it didn't.
Go on, talk, girl.
I need not pause to say how very delighted I am to be here this morning.
He just has a cool way of talking.
To have the opportunity of standing in this very great and significant pulpit. And I do want to express my deep personal appreciation to Dean Sayer and all of the cathedral clergy for extending the invitation. It is always a rich and rewarding experience to take a brief break from our day-to-day demands in the struggle for freedom and human dignity and discuss the issues involved in that struggle with concerned friends of goodwill all over our nation. And certainly it is always a deep and meaningful experience to be in a worship service. And so for many reasons, I'm happy to be here today. I would like to use as a subject from which to preach this morning remaining awake through a great revolution. And the text for the morning is found in the book of Revelation. There are two passages there that I would like to quote. It's in the 16th chapter of that book. Behold, I make all things new. Former things are passed away. I'm sure that most of you have read that arresting little story from the pen of Washington Irving. Entitled Rip Van Winkle. The one thing that we usually remember about the story is that Rip Van Winkle slept 20 years. But that is another point in that little story that is almost always completely overlooked. It was a sign in the end from which Rip went up in the mountain for his long sleep. When Rip Van Winkle went up in the mountain, the sign had a picture of King George III of England. When he came down 20 years later, the sign had a picture of George Washington, the first president of the United States. And Rip Van Winkle looked up at the picture of George Washington, but in looking at the picture, he was amazed. He was completely lost. He knew not who he was. And this reveals to us that the most striking thing about the story of Rip Van Winkle is not merely that Rip slept 20 years, but that he slept through a revolution. While he was peacefully snoring up in the mountain, a revolution was taking place that at points would change the course of history.
And that's where we're at now. I mean, in America.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, look, folks, you can stay detached if you like. You can stay... Woke is becoming a phrase of ridicule now. But
yeah.
What's the opposite of woke?
Sleep.
Yeah, why would you want to be that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you want to be... There's a reason why woke is short for wake up, people. Before, that used to be something people would say, you know what I'm saying, to keep people in the know, to alert them.
Yep.
Let's go.
Keep them informed, yep.
You know, or at least to motivate people. You know, let's get some action. Now in America. Rape, not rape, woke, or rape. They've switched. Rape isn't rape, and woke isn't cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck?
And Rip knew nothing about it. He was asleep. Yes, he slept through a revolution.
And that's called on the in Wonderland.
One of the great liabilities of life is that all too many people find themselves living amid a great period of social change, and yet they fail to develop the new attitudes, the new mental responses.
Indeed.
That the new situation demands. They end up sleeping.
And that's basically what he's saying. Anybody, why rewrite history? It ain't gonna change what happened. Evolve.
Yep.
Evolve. That shit is over. That shit is over. No statue deserves to be up forever. If that was the case, then I'm sure there would be tons of monuments that would be here that had nothing to do with anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like why there ain't no statues of freaking Zeus and shit all over Europe? You know, in Africa, why aren't they like huge monuments to like nobody goes to those temples where they used to sacrifice people anymore and use those things.
No,
Those
like
things
in
are,
Mexico.
yeah, those things
No.
are tourist.
Yeah, they're
things.
tourist attractions.
Yeah, like no, nobody's. You know, no, it's over. Nobody follows that shit anymore. It's over. That's like the show American Gods. It's over.
Yep.
Nobody's following Odin. So there ain't gonna be any statues or temples to Odin.
Exactly.
Not erected on public property. You know what I mean? Like, it's over. You need to develop a new attitude. Like MLK said.
Through a revolution. And there can be no gainsaying of the fact that the great revolution has taken place in the world today.
It's still taking place.
In the sense it is a triple revolution. That is a technological revolution with the impact of automation and cybernation.
Cybernation.
Then that is a revolution
You just
in
made that word up.
weaponry with the emergence of atomic and nuclear weapons of warfare. Then that is a human rights revolution with the freedom explosion that has taken place all over the world. Yes, we do live in a period where changes are taking place.
Once again, this is the 60s.
That is still a voice crying through the vista of time, saying, "Behold, I make all things new. Former things are passed away." Now, whenever anything new comes into history, it brings with it new challenges and new opportunities. And I would like to deal with the challenges that we face today as a result of this triple revolution.
Now, that's the 60s. Obama came in the late 2000s. So you got King in the 60s, Obama in the 2000s. That's 40 years in between.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 40 and some change, 40, 50. And then you got now. So to say racism is dead in this country, when did it die? And at some point, if it did die, then one of these guys were lying. You know what I mean?
And the rest of us didn't get the memo?
Yeah, all the marching and all that stuff. Martin Luther King, he's lying. Or was racism alive and well then? Because segregation was still in then. So, was it alive and well during segregation? Yeah. I guess we could all say. So at the end of segregation, it stopped.
Right.
But, so anybody who had a problem with that, they were just making it up.
Oh, yeah.
There was no residue. You know what I'm saying?
No, it just stopped.
It just stopped. So, or maybe no, they did. They did. Okay, I'll give you the crack cocaine thing. Okay, I'll give you the crack cocaine thing. So you're giving me the 80s. You know, what about the incarceration stuff? You know, well, you know, all these people are doing crime. Okay. All right, so everybody's doing crime. They deserve to be in jail. All right, well, there's statistics that show that white counterparts, same crime.
Yeah.
Don't get the same things. Some municipalities are even judged differently than others. Well, okay, so I'll give you that. All right, well, fuck, that puts us up into the 2000s.
We're almost there.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what about Rodney King? Even if that don't put us in 2000, that puts us in the 90s. What about Rodney King? You sure there wasn't no racism in that? And there was a black cop beating his ass.
Mm-hmm.
So, but just because there's a black cop beating her ass doesn't mean that there's no racism in it. You best believe that if the master wanted the house Negro to whoop a field Negro's ass, that house Negro would have helped. If that master wanted a field Negro to whip that house nigga's ass and take his spot, that field Negro would have done it.
Absolutely.
So in the end, it ain't who's whipping the slave's ass.
Yep.
It's why did the master command it? And so there goes all the, well, there's black people in the cops. There's this, that, white people who get this, that, and the other. White people get shot and killed and abused by the cops. But if they, by some chance, happen to find themselves in jail, they more likely to get off. You know, when they got shot, it was a mistake.
Sorry.
You know, so Martin Luther King goes on to talk about how it's a small world. You know, I need you, you need me. And, you know, and in the end, and that's where we're going to wrap it up, is he's right. We all need each other, bro. Like there is no leaving. There is no going someplace else. There is no anything. We all need each other to get this shit right, because there's going to be more coronaviruses. There's going to be more reasons to separate us coming at us. Technology
Absolutely.
is going to separate. Technology brought us all together, but now technology is going to separate us.
Any kind of change requires us to all work together.
Yeah.
Any kind of change. Name one, and I'll tell you.
Changing your jaws.
Sometimes it does require us all to work together.
Ooh.
Depends, you know, who you hang around with.
I ain't hanging around nobody that I need to help them change their jaws. On that note.
Cut it out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You know what else like to lick a lot?
Specs.
Yeah, boys.
And Malo.
Doggies. They love to lick, and they love to chew, and they love to eat snacks, and they love to do all those things.
They love snacks.
And a real cool place that they can go to get those things is Hidden Closet.
Oh, yes.
And why is that?
That's because right now you can sign up for BarkBox, get great deals and specials. Our boys have been getting BarkBox for a couple years now. That's why we have so many toys everywhere. And
that's why they're so in the way.
And that's why they're so in the way. And Specs loves ripping them all up and waiting for new ones to come in so he can rip those up too.
Yeah.
You know, and the little guys love their snacks. I think that it's so cool that each box comes with a theme.
And that's the cool thing. We've been down with them. And the thing is we've been down with them for about 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
And it's not like every year, okay, January you're going to get the same January toy, February you get the same. No, they switch it up every month of every year. So
do you remember Chinese New Year, and we got a little Chinese food container, and you opened it up and it had 2 little wontons inside? Yeah. Oh, that squeaked. Oh my gosh, they have like the best toys. They're just so creative.
My favorite one was the airplane. I really love it.
Oh, the airplane. That one was super cute.
Yeah, like the luggage that came with it.
Yes, there's so many of them that I don't even want to give them to play with because they're just so cute.
But not only that, but they also worked in the sense of they provide snacks and other things that I wouldn't think of giving my pet or looking into. So definitely
new
check
products,
out BarkBox. What are some of the deals they can get on the website?
They can get special offers now on your first month, your first box of your first. Yeah, absolutely. If you sign up for a full year, you can get it all at a reduced rate.
Oh, dope city.
Check them all out. And if you like their products, you can get them mostly. They have a lot of sales on a lot of their natural products now. Their natural chicken bites and things like that. And those are the kinds that Spexies love. So, yep, you get exclusive deals and you'll absolutely love it. And they treat your dog so good.
Yeah, well, that's Hidden Closet.
Yep, check them out.
TMC4JMC.com. check it out, and I think you'll enjoy your.
Yeah.
You definitely, your dog is gonna enjoy it.
At least try it out the first month. You'll love it. There's no commitment.
Give it a shot, folks.
Yep.
I understand it's a unity walk, yeah, we came together, but this is not the time for them to be talking. We understand, we appreciate that, but everybody that got an issue out here, now is the time to get up here and say how you feel. The pain you've been going through, the information that's been withheld from you, from cases that you don't have. Now is the time to get up here. So they just start opening these cases that you don't got information from. What is his name? Leon. Who else is it? Matthew. All these people that's been killed here. Look,
by the police. By the police.
Stand up for your people.
That's
if
right.
you ain't got answers, Tiara McNeil, the Hardy County Police, the Hardy County Sheriff's Office is still withholding information from her son's death. They won't give her no information.
No,
this been
her
going
own
since
son.
2017. Why don't she got no information?
That's right.
And he was with 3 or 4. It's not,
White boys.
It's not a racist thing, but
it was
he
white
with
boys.
3 or 4 white people. And they went down there and said whatever story to cover it up, and that's what she got to live with.
That's right.
That boy can't swim.
That's
Why the hell is he in the goddamn ocean with Jordans on his feet?
That's right.
And he's all his goddamn clothes on.
That's right.
They killed him. That's right. And we out here doing all this, but you can't stand up for us. Like, get your ass on this podium and tell me what the fuck is wrong.
Thanks for watching, and to see more T4J content, please visit TMC4JMC.com, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff, because we appreciate your support. Alright? Peace. Cool.